Chapter 1540. Before Huamin went to see Hua Xiqian, she went back to Sky Blessing Court. She changed her clothes. Maybe it was because she was in a bad mood these days, but she had been wearing dark clothes. Most of her clothes were at South Hill Manor. Even when she divorced Qin Chu, she didn't bring all her clothes back. After looking around, she only found a pure white sweater. She changed into a pair of dark blue pencil pants and a pair of flat boots. She wore a wine-red cashmere coat. Huamin looked both intellectual and elegant. She looked at herself in the mirror and felt that she looked a little pale. Before she left, Huamin carefully put a small light blue bottle in her bag. The Hua mansion. Huamin hadn't been here in a long time. Seeing this place reminded her of a lot of things. Her mother and Hua Yanyan's love and hate relationship, her past grudges with Hua Si and Hua Yanyan. Grandma's funeral, Shen Jiani's begging, and Jiang Hong's coercion. Everything seemed to have happened just yesterday. However, things had changed. The Hua mansion wasn't luxurious or extravagant. It was just that the location was good and close to the city center. This was a wealthy area that was built a long time ago. However, it was a little old now. The empty mansion was no longer as glorious and lively as it used to be. Ever since Jiang Hong had moved out, the mansion was now empty. After Jiang Hong left, Hua Xiqian was really the only one left. He would even cook by himself. Knowing that Huamin was coming, he drove to the nearby supermarket and bought a lot of fresh ingredients. Huamin stood in front of the Hua mansion. After hesitating for a moment, she slowly pressed the doorbell. Hua Xiqian opened the door and smiled when he saw Huamin. "Mian, come in." He smiled gently. Huamin didn't say anything and walked in directly. She looked around the living room. It was still the same as before. "Take a seat here first. I still need a few things. I'll be done soon." Huamin didn't reply. She sat down on the sofa with her bag. Hua Xiqian placed a fruit plate in front of Huamin. "Mian, have some fruit first. Are you hungry?" "Hua Xiqian, I'm not here to eat with you, Before Huamin could finish, Hua Xiqian interrupted her. "Shoo, listen to me today. Wait for me, the food will be ready soon." After speaking, Hua Xiqian walked into the kitchen. Huamin didn't say anything. She didn't smile on her face's face. After Mian she waited for about 10 minutes. Hua Xiqian brought the dishes to the table one by one. Then, he called out to Mian, dinner's ready. Come over. Huamin slowly stood up and walked over. Glancing at the table, she saw a dazzling array of seafood, vegetables, and fruit salads. There was a lot of food. There was no way the two of them could finish it all. Even 8 people couldn't finish it. They were all Huamin's favorites. There were king crabs, Australian lobsters, bamboo shrimps, mantis shrimps, giant conches. Mian, sit down. Huamin didn't say anything and sat down. Hua Xiqian placed another bowl in front of Huamin. This is brown sugar ginger water, drink it first. You won't have a stomachache when you eat seafood later. I'm not here to eat, I know. If you don't want to eat, you can sit with me, he said. Then, Hua Xiqian sat down across from Huamin and picked up a crab to eat with relish. It's still cold, so the crabs aren't that fat. But they're pretty fresh. The fisherman caught them that day. You can eat less. I'm not eating, Huamin replied with a straight face. I remember that you love seafood the most. I was thinking, if you come back for dinner in the future, I'll prepare a lot of seafood for you. I want you to eat to your heart's content. Hua Xiqian laughed as he spoke. Today, he became a chatterbox, rambling on and on. Huamin just looked at him quietly. Chapter 1541. Are you done eating? If you are, let's get to the point, Huamin asked. Go ahead, I'm listening. Hua Xichen lowered his head and continued to eat the shrimp. He seemed to be in a good mood. Hua Xichen, what will it take for you to let us go? Hua Xichen's hand that was eating the shrimp paused for a second. Why do you ask? Don't play dumb, just tell me, if you want money, I can give you all of our money. I can even give you GK, as long as you don't hurt us. Huamin's tone was pleading. She knew that Hua Xichen was a psychopath, a madman who was capable of doing anything. Therefore, she begged him to stop scheming against Qin Chu. Mian, I don't want money. Hua Xichen raised his head and slowly stared at Huamin. Then what do you want? Huamin's brows furrowed slightly. You should know. Hua Xichen's gaze softened. When Huamin looked into his eyes, he felt very uncomfortable. It was a very strange feeling. Seeing that Huamin wasn't willing to speak, Huamin smiled. Hua Xichen smiled and said, the one I want the most has always been you. My body. You only want my body, right? No. What I want is you as a person. What I want is a lifetime. Huamin laughed upon hearing this. Hua Xichen, what you want is too extravagant, I can't afford it. Indeed, a lifetime was her promise to Qin Chu. She couldn't give it to anyone else. Even if Qin Chu didn't exist, she still wouldn't choose a man like Hua Xichen to be her lover. After all, she didn't like scumbags who didn't have a bottom line. You can. As long as you're willing, I can spoil you, love you, and treat you well for the rest of my life. I won't even look at other women. I won't blame you for anything you did wrong. If Qin Chu treats you well, I'll treat you very well. If Su Yu treats you 100% well, I'll treat you 100% well. Mian, give me a chance. I'm strong now, and I have the right to say that I love you. Hua Xichen, are you done playing? Huamin looked at him coldly. You don't believe me. Hua Xichen was slightly disappointed. Why should I believe you? Do you mean believe? Would I believe a pervert who tramples on human lives like ants? Ha, so that's how you see me. Hua Xichen laughed bleakly. What else can I do? Don't you think you've gone overboard? Don't you think that what you've done is unforgivable? It is said that people are born kind. But I have known you for so many years, and I have never seen your kind side. Did you come to the wrong world? You should go to the devil world, because you are a devil. Huamin was famous for his sharp tongue. She dared to say things that others didn't dare to say. She thought that her words would be enough to anger Hua Xichen, but he didn't. He only chuckled softly. What are you laughing at? Huamin hated how unpredictable he was. I laughed. You've seen through me. You're right, I'm a demon, but even demons have people they want to protect. Mian, you might not know what kind of existence you are to me. There are a lot of things I'll say now, and you might not believe it, but I'm willing to use my entire life to prove that I can treat you better than Qin Chu. Other than Qin Chu, I won't accept anyone else. What if he's dead? Then I'll die too, Huamin said firmly. You're such a stubborn, silly girl. Hua Xichen, are you really not going to give up on Qin Chu? Huamin asked one last time. If you're willing to be with me, I'll let him go. If you love him, you can sacrifice yourself for him. You want a soulless body. Huamin sneered. Of course, why wouldn't I? As long as it's you, even if you're in a vegetative state or a corpse, I'll still want it. Hua Xichen said these words with a smile. If others didn't know better, they would have thought that he was joking. Huamin felt disgusted. Very well, if that's the case, then we have nothing else to talk about. After speaking, Huamin stood up to leave. Mian, do you think you can walk out of here? Hua Xichen's voice was very soft. Chapter 1542. What's wrong? Are you threatening me? I'm not threatening you. Do you think you'll walk out of here so easily today? Min turned around. Do you think I came here unprepared? I can tell you very clearly that no high-tech equipment will be of any use in this house. No matter how many helpers you bring outside, they will all be taken care of by my people. So, don't think about reinforcements coming to save you. So, I'm such an idiot in your eyes. Why would I need reinforcements and phone calls? Do you have something even more fun prepared? Do you want to try? Min smiled beautifully. Hua Xiqian stared at her for a few seconds. The two of them looked at each other in silence. Both of them were smiling, but neither of them spoke. In the end, Hua Xiqian spoke first. Mian, I don't want you to leave. Can you stay? In your dreams. She would never spend a night in this damned place again. Never again. I won't do anything to you. I just want to sleep here like last time, I swear. That's not possible. Min refused without hesitation. What a stubborn brat. Then I'll have to take care of Qin Chu first. Do you think, if he mysteriously dies in the detention center, the police will just dispose of his body? Hua Xiqian smiled eerily. Don't touch Qin Chu, or I'll kill your entire family. Min was truly furious this time. Silly girl, I don't have a family. You and I are the only ones left in the Hua family, so, don't be silly. Even if I have to die with you, I won't let you touch Qin Chu ever again. You're Qin Chu. TSK. You little brat, you're making me jealous. Min was so protective of Qin Chu that Hua Xiqian was envious of her. You just don't have a bottom line. Was there something wrong with his values? It's just despicable. I can do that too. You're ruthless, aren't you? I can be more ruthless than you. Hua Xiqian laughed maniacally. Oh, you want to compete with me in terms of ruthlessness? Ha ha ha. Don't laugh so disgustingly. One day, I will make you unable to laugh anymore. Why don't you think about how to get out first? After speaking, Hua Xiqian slowly approached Min. Min got up and backed away. There's only the two of us here. My men are outside. They've locked down this house. Tell me, where else can you run to? Hua Xiqian smiled as he approached Min. Hua Xiqian, you're disgusting. You remind me of the time you attacked GK's security system and stopped the elevators. You trapped me in the building and played a game of cat and mouse. Mian, what are you talking about? Hua Xiqian was slightly surprised. Don't tell me you've forgotten what you did so quickly. Min bit down on his lips. He hated Hua Xiqian to the core. I really don't know what you're talking about. What building? What security system? What cat and mouse? Did you get the wrong person? Impossible. I'd recognize your face even if it turned into ashes, Min said with certainty. Then is there someone who looks exactly like me? Hua Xiqian asked. Don't pretend with me, it's you. Only you would do something so disgusting. After speaking, Min turned around to leave. Mian, why are you so stubborn? I told you, you can't get out, really. Then, let's try. After speaking, Min reached into her bag and took out a light blue bottle. What's that? Hua Xiqian was slightly surprised. It's something that can send you and me to hell instantly. For the first time, Min revealed an evil smile. Hua Xiqian put away his playful smile and became serious. This was the first time in all the years he had known Min, he saw such a dangerous expression on her face. Chapter 1543. Mian, are you serious? Hua Xiqian laughed. What do you think? Huamin asked back provocatively. After staring at each other for about 5 seconds, Hua Xiqin sighed. You little brat, it's so hard to keep you for one night. Huamin remained silent. All right, don't stare at me like that. Go, go, I'm not keeping you any longer. Upon hearing what he said, Huamin turned around and left. However, she still held on to the light blue bottle tightly in her hand. Hua Xiqin didn't say anything until Huamin walked out of the Hua mansion. He just quietly looked at her back. Boss, are you going to let Miss Hua go just like that? His subordinate seemed very reluctant. After working for Hua Xiqin for so many years, they knew all too well how Hua Xiqin felt about Huamin. What else can I do? I think Miss Hua is just scaring us. It's just a little bottle, is it that scary? His subordinate didn't think much of it and thought that Hua Xiqin was being too cautious. He trusted her and let her go just because of Huamin's words and a broken bottle. Hua Xiqin coldly glanced at that person's face. What do you know? No one knows Mian better than I do. She never fights a battle that she's not confident in. That brat is very similar to me in one aspect. We're both ruthless. In this world, other than me and Huamin, no one is more ruthless than us. After speaking, Hua Xiqin yawned and walked upstairs. I'm done playing, I'm going to bed. His subordinate didn't dare to say anything else. Their boss was always weird, and most people wouldn't understand him. Huamin walked out of the Hua mansion with a heavy heart. The last snowfall before the beginning of spring fell in the north. It was shockingly heavy. Huamin parked his car in front of a shopping mall, which was a rare sight. Then, he walked around aimlessly. After an unknown period of time, she felt that she was about to lose consciousness from the cold. Suddenly, a black cashmere coat was draped over her body. She turned her head and glanced at Suyu without a trace of surprise. Qin Chu was not by her side. At this time, if there was someone who could put himself in her shoes, that person would definitely be Suyu. Before Huamin could speak, Suyu said, when Tang Chuan drove past the Bifrost, he saw you walking here alone, so he told me. Oh. Huamin replied faintly. It's so cold, do you want to freeze to death? No. Huamin was in low spirits. Not in a good mood. Yeah. Huamin nodded. Tonight, when she went to negotiate with Hua Xiqin, not only did she not get anything out of it, but it also increased her psychological burden. Hua Xiqin accidentally mentioned that he tampered with the detention center and asked her to collect Qin Chu's body. This became a rock in her heart. It was so heavy that she couldn't breathe. You can't take it out on your own body. Silly. Suyu's cashmere coat was really warm. It instantly warmed Huamin's heart. Do you still want to walk? I'll go with you. No, come with me to the Sunset Cliff. Why are we going there? Suyu was surprised. The Sunset Cliff was a very remote cliff. Because it was close to the sea, the terrain was very steep. Other than a few mountain climbers who were willing to go there, basically no one went there. It was very sparsely populated. I need to take care of something. After Huamin finished speaking, she followed Suyu into his Lamborghini. When they arrived at the foot of the Sunset Cliff, the mountain path was very steep. Plus, it was night time, so even a sports car couldn't go up. The two of them walked up. Suyu was born in the military, so he was very energetic. Huamin, on the other hand, was much frilier. Her pace slowed down. Are you tired? Let's take a break. Suyu asked. No need. You only know how to hold on. I'll let you die from exhaustion. After Suyu finished speaking, he didn't care if Huamin was willing or not. He picked her up horizontally, then, he placed her on his back, and carried her away. Hey! Suyu! Huamin loudly protested. Chapter 1544. Shut up, you're so annoying. Suyu didn't give Huamin a chance to nag and carried her up the mountain. At first, Huamin wanted to come down, but no matter what she said, Suyu wouldn't say a word, so she gave up. Finally, the two of them arrived at the top of the mountain. After Suyu put Huamin down, beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Huamin saw all of this. Am I heavy? She asked. It's okay, my golden retriever is just a little bit heavier. Damn you, comparing me to your golden retriever. Huamin was so angry that she laughed. Don't be angry, my golden retriever is smarter than you, at least he wouldn't be stupid enough to meet the enemy alone. You know everything. How can you hide anything from me? Suyu glanced at Huamin indifferently. Actually, I just wanted to see if he would let Qin Chu live if I gave him all my money. He didn't want money to begin with, what you did was stupid. Suyu scolded Huamin fiercely, maybe I'm just desperate. At a time like this, as long as there's a way to save Qin Chu, I want to try anything. Really? Then if I can save Qin Chu, will you marry me? Suyu asked calmly. Huamin looked up in shock, perhaps she never thought that Suyu would say something like this. Suyu, haha, I'm just kidding, did you really think I was serious? Suyu laughed and scratched his head. Huamin was silent, she realized that all jokes had an element of seriousness. Maybe Suyu did think that at one point in time. The Su family did indeed have the strength, but the process would still be very difficult. The deceased, Song Yisher, was the mayor's daughter, so this case was extremely difficult to handle. No one was willing to get involved in this mess, silly. Why are you looking at me like that? I was just joking. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. What do you need to do? Hurry up, Anne. I'm freezing to death. When Suyu received Tang Chuan's call, he was having a meal with a client and discussing a cooperation project. After receiving the call, he immediately apologized and left. He did not have any extra clothes on him. Therefore, after giving the cashmere coat to Huamin, he only wore a sweater inside, which instantly froze like a dog. Huamin nodded and carefully took out a light blue bottle from his bag. Hey, what is this? Suyu was curious and wanted to take it. However, Huamin slapped his hand away. Don't touch it. Why are you so fierce? Suyu was startled by Huamin's fierce look. Move back, haha. Do you have to make such a big fuss? Dr. Hua, don't scare me, I have a weak heart. Suyu had always been joking. He thought that since Huamin wanted to deal with something in secret, it was probably some kind of contraband. Now that he saw that she took out a small bottle, he guessed that it might be some kind of top-grade poison. It might be something that Huamin had developed himself to poison Hua Xiqian. However, he did not expect that. The thing was far beyond his imagination. Under Huamin's insistence, Suyu moved back more than 10 meters. Huamin handed the bag in his hand to Suyu and slowly walked to the edge of Sunset Cliff. He lowered his head and looked down at the dark and deep sea. Hey! Silly girl, I say. Are you going to jump down from here? Suyu was scared out of his wits. Chapter 1545. Tell me, did you really invent this? Of course. Do you think you can buy it on the market? Huamin laughed. Indeed, if the country's laws were strict, it would be hard to even buy a handgun, let alone explosives. Then, how did you make it? The principle is simple. It's a combination of multiple chemical ingredients, but I can't tell you. I'm not asking about the ingredients. I just think, liquid explosives are too dangerous to carry around. Usually, you have to ignite it with fire. But I saw you use something sticky, yeah, that thing replaced the fire. You invented it yourself. Suyu was shocked. Yes, because it's safer this way. Otherwise, I might explode into pieces. So you're going to use it against Wasichin? No, you're going to die with him. Suyu asked. If he wanted to harm me, I would. But he didn't. He's afraid of death. Huamin was very straightforward. That's right, Wasichin was afraid of death, so he didn't dare to bet with Huamin. Fuck. Huamin, I really want to worship you. God. Huamin was speechless, but you really wasted it. Why didn't you show it to me when I wanted to see it? Huamin took care of it before he could take a good look. What a pity. Because I was afraid you would be in danger, Huamin said. No, I saw you use clay to ignite it. I don't have a detonator with me, so it won't explode. No, other than clay, high pressure will also cause it to explode. For example, if you pinch the bottle, it will explode on its own. Suyu was speechless. I used it as a precaution. If I don't have time to grab the clay or lose it, I have to have another plan. But if you pinch it, won't you? Suyu didn't finish his sentence, but his heart sank. That's right, we'll perish together. Then, if you're carrying this thing with you, what if you're not careful and accidentally fall and squash it? It will also explode. Any external force will cause it to explode. Fuck. Suyu was scared. Huamin was really too daring to carry around such a thing that could explode at any time. To think that he would be so brave as to walk in the snow for so long, this woman was really amazing. Are you scared? Huamin looked at Suyu's expression and asked with a smile. Who wouldn't be afraid? That's something that can blow people into pieces. Suyu's forehead was covered in cold sweat. I've already dealt with it. It's fine. I didn't expect you to have such a powerful skill. Looks like. I don't need to buy fireworks for Chinese New Year anymore. Just make a few for me, haha. Suyu was indulging in fantasy. Huamin was speechless. Only someone like Suyu would think of something as immoral as using explosives to replace fireworks. Are you hungry? Let's go eat something. Suyu happily followed behind Huamin. At this moment, he was like a follower worshipping a god. He worshipped Huamin from the bottom of his heart. I'm not hungry. My stomach has been hurting lately. I can't eat anything. You're just too hot-tempered. I know a Hong Kong restaurant. The soup is really authentic. Let's go there. Tell me about your thoughts on developing explosives. Huamin was speechless. Suyu was really obsessed with explosives. He looked at Huamin with great infatuation. Who would have thought that this gentle girl would be able to make such a powerful weapon? Suyu thought that he could talk to his grandpa and have his army recruit Huamin, this genius. I really don't want to eat. Huamin politely refused. Then just treat it as eating with me, okay? Carrying a pig like you up the mountain was really exhausting. Suyu coaxed Huamin, which was rare for him. He looked so pitiful. Huamin couldn't bear to see him like this. Chapter 1546. Okay. Seeing that Huamin finally agreed, the corners of Suyu's mouth curled up. He was in a great mood. Inside the Hong Kong tea restaurant, Suyu ordered a table full of food, but Huamin didn't have much of an appetite, so she barely ate. Suyu then asked the waiter to make her some bird's nest soup. You don't look very well, you should sleep more. Suyu looked up at Huamin as he ate. Huamin touched her face and forced a smile. I can't sleep. Hey, when your mom named you Huamin, did she tell you to sleep more? Suyu laughed. Huamin, when it comes to bullshitting, I admire no one but you, Suyu. You're the president of a company, but you're not serious at all. Ha ha ha. I'm just trying to make you happy. Suyu smiled as he put another shrimp dumpling on Huomin's plate. Try this, it's not bad, it's very fresh. Huomin didn't want to reject his kindness, so she took a bite. Suddenly, her stomach began to churn. It was extremely uncomfortable. Seeing the change in Huomin's expression, Suyu quickly asked, "What's wrong, are you okay?" Huomin shook her head. I'm fine. I don't have much of an appetite, you can eat. Huomin stopped eating, she only picked up a glass of water and took a sip. Suyu felt bad seeing her like this. He wanted to take Huomin to eat something good so she could eat more, but she didn't eat much. After dinner, the two of them walked out of the restaurant. I'll take you to Wei Liao's place. Xiao Wei's place is safer, Suyu said worriedly. It's okay. Hua Xichen isn't an idiot, he won't bother me for the next few days. I'm still worried, believe me, no one knows him better than I do. Alright then. The trial will begin the day after tomorrow. Yeah. Huomin nodded. Be strong. Okay. Huomin raised his head and continued to smile. Her smile made Suyu feel a slight pain in his heart. His heart ached for Huomin, who was supporting the overall situation by himself. Then I'll send you back to Sky Blessing Court. My car is still in 3rd Ring Road. It's okay. I'll let you drive it to your door later, Suyu added. Alright. Then I'll have to trouble you, Lord Su, Huomin joked. Cut the crap and get in the car. Suyu had already regarded Huomin as a very important person. Even if she did not accept his feelings, he would continue to treat her well. Protecting her, a few days ago, he happened to watch a movie on TV at home called Summer Trees Looking Up at Heaven. There was a sentence in the movie that touched him. Summer Trees said that there were 2 types of happiness in the world. The first type of happiness was for 2 people who loved each other to be together. If they couldn't be together, then please fulfill the second type of happiness. The second type of happiness was for the person you loved to be happy forever, so you felt that it was almost impossible for him to be with Huomin. Therefore, he was willing to quietly watch Huomin be happy. If Huomin was happy, then he was happy too. When they returned to Sky Blessing Court, it was already 1 in the morning. To their surprise, there were a lot of people at home. Jiang Xiaowei, Wei Liao, Gao Ran, and Zhu Lingling were all there. What are you guys doing? Are you having a meeting? Huomin smiled. Girl, where did you go? You didn't pick up your calls and didn't reply to my WeChat messages. Zhu Lingling looked at Huomin worriedly. My phone ran out of battery, so I went out to do something. Huomin lowered her head and took out her phone. Indeed, it turned off automatically. Damn. You scared us to death. Xiao Wei and I called so many times, but we couldn't get through. We were worried that something might have happened to you, so we searched a lot of places. In the end, we decided to wait for you here, Zhu Lingling rushed to answer. Chapter 1547. I'm fine, I went out for supper with Lord Su. Huomin smiled. You're really something. Why didn't you tell us that you had a beauty with you? You made my pregnant wife worried. Wei Liao smiled at Suyu. If I told you animals, would I still be able to eat? Suyu retorted. Huomin held Xiao Wei's hand. Slightly, I'm sorry for making you worry. You guys should go home, it's too late. You're pregnant. Mian, sleep at my place tonight. Jiang Xiaowei was still worried. It's fine. It's safe here. I don't like the bed, I didn't sleep well at your place, Huomin insisted 3 times before everyone agreed to let her stay at Sky Blessing Court alone. Mian, the court hearing is the day after tomorrow. Gao Ran's voice was very hoarse. He had been busy helping Qin Chu these past few days. However, it was useless. Even his father couldn't do anything, which made him very anxious. He also had a retraction needle on the back of his hand. It seemed like Gao Ran was also sick. Huamin didn't have the heart to torture everyone. I'm a little tired today, I'll go in and rest. I still have a lot of work to do at the company tomorrow. You guys should go to bed early, I'll see you at the court entrance the day after tomorrow. Okay, then you should go to bed early. Zhu Lingling nodded. Mian, if you don't dare, call me immediately, I'll get the driver to pick you up, Jiang Shaowei said worriedly. Okay. After everyone left, Siyu was the last to leave. Are you really okay? He asked again worriedly. I'm really fine, then I'm leaving. Okay. Oh, right, wait a minute, Huamin called out to Siyu. He turned around. About the liquid explosives. Before Huamin could finish, Siyu continued, I won't tell anyone. Smart. Good night. Huamin smiled. Good night. When he left Blessed Heavenly Garden, Suyu's heart was heavy. He drove to a nightclub to find Tang Chuan to drink and relieve his boredom. What's wrong? Didn't you say that you spent the night with Huamin? What's with that expression? Tang Chuan laughed. Repressed, what's there to be suppressed for? If it were up to me, you should take this opportunity to take down Huamin. Qin Chu is trapped. This is your chance. Get lost. Don't talk to me about this. You're such a coward. In my opinion, you'll never be able to get Huamin like this. Tang Chuan sometimes disagreed with Su Yu's way of doing things. He still liked the old Su Yu. He was domineering and arrogant, fighting for whatever he wanted. If he couldn't get it, he would take it by force. He was like a bandit. However, when faced with Huamin, Su Yu became timid. He didn't dare to do anything and could only grieve by himself. Su Yu didn't say anything and just quietly drank. He felt bad for Huamin, who was struggling alone. The situation was so bad, but Huamin still forced a smile and struggled to hold on. Sometimes, he selfishly hoped that Huamin would fall. That way, he would have a reason to help Huamin. The next morning, Su Yu sent the car back, and Huamin drove straight to GK headquarters. Hua Xiqian's malicious purchase of GK's shares made everyone at GK anxious. A few small shareholders took the opportunity to betray the company and sold their shares to Hua Xiqian at a high price. Huamin was so angry that his face turned pale. A young lady. What should we do now? The company can't hold on much longer. Assistant Yang said hesitantly. A young lady. Why don't we look for investors like other companies? Bella suggested. Chapter 1548. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Come in. Huamin looked at the door. Sister Ingzi walked in her high heels and placed a stack of contracts in front of Huamin. A young lady, we want to terminate our contract. Huamin was slightly surprised and looked up at her. Terminate what contract? Bella was confused. A young lady, don't blame us for being heartless. Yang loves you deeply and has always treated you like an older sister. He's too embarrassed to say it, but I'm his manager, so I can't say it. This concerns the future of our studio. Yang is very popular right now, and many film companies are offering high prices. Imperial Star and the Hua Corporation are both good candidates. Anyone with eyes knows that our company is about to go down. If we continue to hold on, Yang's fame will be ruined, and then we won't be able to offer as high a price as we are now. If you're really good to Yang, let him go. Dying on his own is better than dying in a fight. What are you talking about? Bella was furious. Ingzi, are you trying to kick us when we're down? Assistant Yang couldn't stay calm. The entertainment company had given Ni Young the best resources and customized many movies and TV shows for him. They even found a famous producer to produce a new album. Now that they had reached the highest level, Ingzi wanted to terminate their contract. You can't blame us for this, people are all realistic. As the saying goes, every man for himself, and the devil takes the hindmost. A young lady, you're a sensible person, let's not ask for compensation. After all, Ni Young has been working for you for so long. Working for you, haha, if I remember correctly, I saved Ni Yang's life. Hua Min laughed. Sister Ingzi's expression changed slightly. Ni Young probably doesn't know that you made this decision for him, right? Hua Min asked. That's right. That kid is pure and cares a lot about relationships, so she won't agree to terminate the contract. I'll take over her, so what makes you think that I won't ask for double the penalty? Hua Min continued to laugh. Haven't you always treated Ni Young as your younger brother? Don't tell me you're trying to scam little brother's money. Sister Ingzi panicked. Ha! Little brother wouldn't do that to big sister, right? You would never leave your sister when she's in trouble. Bella mocked from the side. I don't have a choice. President Qin is in trouble and the company is half dead. You can't let us suffer together with you. I have a lot of people waiting for me to make a living. Friendship is friendship, but even brothers have to settle accounts. Sure, if you pay me double the penalty, I'll immediately terminate your contract, Hua Min said without hesitation. Double the penalty was not cheap, and Ingzi would not agree to take it out. Ni Young treats you so well, how could you treat him like this? This has nothing to do with Ni Young, it has to do with your studio. If I love my younger brother, I can give him money in private. But when it comes to work, that's a separate matter. Didn't you say that brothers should settle accounts clearly? But ever since Ni Young joined GK, he's made a lot of money for you guys. Ingzi argued. We spent a lot of resources to build him up, Hua Min retorted. Ha, fine, since it's come to this, don't blame us for falling out with you. I've already made plans with a lot of reporters, and I'm going to announce that you're making things difficult for us to terminate our contracts. I'm going to show everyone how fake you are, and how you treat Ni Young as your brother, Ingzi threatened Hua Min. Haha, you know what? I hate being threatened the most in my life. So? Ingzi had a smug look on her face. So, you still remember how you sold out GK and leaked Ni Yang's new album in advance and framed Xinjie, right? Hua Min stared at Ingzi and smiled meaningfully. Ingzi's expression immediately changed. I don't know what you're talking about. Chapter 1549. If you don't want people to know, then don't do it in the first place. Ingzi, I respect you for recognizing Ni Yang's worth and saving his life many years ago, but you can't treat him like a money tree or a money-making machine. I hope you're doing this for his own good and not for the sake of money. What do you mean? Am I not good enough for Ni Yang? If you were good enough, you wouldn't have sold out his album for money and made Xinjie the scapegoat. If you were good enough for him, you wouldn't have stopped him from dating because you didn't want him to make money for you. If you were good enough for him, you wouldn't have encouraged him to hate his mother and brother and prevented them from reuniting. Ingzi looked at Hua Min in surprise. Hua Min slowly stood up. Surprised, right? I actually investigated you a long time ago. Do you know why I didn't expose you the last time you sold out the company? Hua Min asked. Ingzi didn't say anything. That's because I didn't want to hurt Ni Yang's feelings after the truth was exposed. After all, you've been like a savior to him all these years, and he's always thought of you as his savior. You treat him like family, not a tool to get rich. Do you have any evidence for what you said? Ingzi accused Hua Min. I'm not a person who spouts nonsense. You want evidence, right? I have plenty of it, see for yourself. After speaking, Huamin pulled out a stack of documents from his desk and threw them onto the floor. The photos were scattered all over the floor. They were photos of Yingzi privately contacting the media to expose Ni Yang's new album, as well as some deals she made behind Ni Yang's back. They were all about profits. I didn't know you were this kind of person. I thought, you were really good to Ni Yang and our company. Bella looked at Yingzi with disdain. So, don't look for trouble at a time like this. I don't want to expose you, but you should know your place. Huamin looked at Yingzi meaningfully. She didn't say anything and ran away with her tail between her legs, a young lady. You're so close to Ni Yang, you should tell him the truth and ask him to change managers, Bella suggested. It's not that easy to change managers. If it was someone else, it wouldn't be that bad, but Ni Yang loves Yingzi so much that he's like family to her. I'm afraid he won't be able to accept it so quickly. Although Yingzi treats Ni Yang as a money-making tool, at least she hasn't done anything too extreme. I've been so busy lately that I don't have the time to care about this. If she hadn't taken the initiative to kick him when he was down, I wouldn't have had a falling out with her. I'm not a ruthless person. It's best to leave some leeway for everything. A young lady is indeed kind, little Yang praised. But being merciful is useless. I can't save Mr. Qin, so I'd rather be a heartless woman than be merciful. Huamian smiled bitterly. A young lady. I'm afraid the company won't last more than 3 days. Please think of something and give us an idea. President Qin isn't here, and the chairman is in the hospital. You're the only one who can take care of the company. I really hope the company can survive this crisis. We don't want to leave GK, Bella said with tears in her eyes. I'll do my best. Don't worry, GK is my life. Bella, you guys can go now, I still have some things to take care of. Okay. Bella, little Yang, wait a second, there's one more thing. Huamin yelled again. Yes. A young lady, what is it? Chapter 1550. Tell everyone that all employees are allowed to leave at this time, but there's one condition. Anyone who leaves at this time will be blacklisted by GK and will never be hired again. Anyone who stays will get double their salary once the crisis is over. Okay, I'll let them know right away. Bella nodded. Then, she walked out of the president's office with Yang. Huamin sighed. He pressed his hands against his temples and sat down tiredly on the president's office chair. Recently, he had been very tired and had been feeling dizzy and sleepy. Huamin thought that he had overworked himself. He opened his laptop and put a piece of chocolate in his mouth to replenish his energy. Then, he closed his eyes and took a nap for about 10 minutes. Ever since his family got into trouble, President Wu had called many times and used a lot of his connections to help Qin Chu, but to no avail. Chen Jia also came to visit Huamin during her off days and brought some of her homemade food. Unfortunately, Huamin didn't have the appetite to eat, Siyu was right. In such a difficult situation, many people had given up. Only Huamin was still holding on. Huamin knew that if he gave up as well, then Qin Chu would be beyond saving. He was trapped by Hua Xiqian's perfect trap, which was meticulously planned and impeccable. No one would be able to see any flaws in it. No one would be able to find any flaws. Huamin thought about it for several nights, but she didn't want to use her final plan. She didn't want to use it unless it was absolutely necessary. However, as the day of the first trial approached, she had no other choice. On an island in the South Pacific, a beautiful girl in a sky-blue bohemian dress stood on a cruise ship with a glass of champagne in her hand. Boss, this is the latest information we found. The girl put down her glass, picked up the document, and carefully read it, not missing a single word. The situation is already so complicated. Yes, boss, should we make a move? The girl didn't say anything. Your sister's husband is trapped, and the company is about to be swallowed up. It's very dangerous. The girl still didn't speak. Boss, are you concerned about the professor's advice? The man beside her saw the girl's hesitation and asked. Yes. She nodded. Dad said, if I go back to help her now, I'll expose her whereabouts. If I get involved, the situation will be 100 times more dangerous than it is now. Although she's in a difficult situation now, at least her life is not in danger. Also, I heard that my sister's husband has some personal connections with the American mafia. Reno and Rick won't just stand by and watch. That being said, the problem is, aren't you worried about her safety? The girl bit her lips as if her thoughts had been exposed. She remained silent. After a long while, she said slowly, Dad has lived longer than me, so what he says must make sense. Moreover, his love for sister is no less than mine. Perhaps this really isn't the best time to look for her. Let's wait and see. After saying that, the girl picked up the champagne beside her and drank it in one gulp. Then, he walked into the cabin with a heavy heart. In the past few years, she had traveled to almost all parts of the world. There seemed to be no place that she hadn't visited. As high as the Himalayas and as low as the Alaskan Sea, Europe, Australia, Asia. There was no place that she hadn't been to in the 7 continents and 4 oceans. She also lived a life under the rain of bullets, because the whole world knew that she was the professor's daughter. She had to live in fear every day. She fought to not be captured, not to be used as a hostage to threaten her father, not to be killed, and not to make her father worry. Therefore, her father was right. In comparison, her sister's life had been peaceful, but her sister was much happier than her. Although she had a lot of money and a lot of subordinates, her life was still on the verge of death. For her, being able to see the sun tomorrow was a luxury. For her, she was born with only 2 wishes. One was to live a good life and escape the rain of bullets. The other was to see her sister Huamin and be reunited with her family while she was alive. 2 days later, the High People's Court heard the 327 homicide case. Huamin wore a black suit and had her hair tied up in a bun. She appeared at the entrance of the court, looking capable and handsome. Chapter 1551. While waiting for his friends, Huamin was surrounded by a large group of reporters. Lady Qin, can you tell us how you're feeling right now? I'm in a good mood. I believe that my husband will be fine. Lady Qin, didn't you guys get divorced? Do you still mind people calling you Lady Qin? I'll always be Lady Qin. Divorce or not, it's just a piece of paper, it won't make a difference. Huamin smiled. I heard that GK's stock market is going to crash, and GK won't be able to hold on much longer. What do you plan to do? Sell it or raise funds? That's a trade secret, I can't answer, thank you. How will President Qin's murder case end today? What are you looking forward to? My husband didn't kill anyone, so I believe that the law will give him justice. Rumor has it that President Qin cheated on Miss Song because of love, that's why, reporter friend, please don't speculate, especially when it's such a big case. Even the police don't dare to talk about it, but you guys have the guts to talk about it. Sometimes it's good to be bold, but remember to distinguish right from wrong. Huamin sneered at the reporter. His sharp gaze made the young reporter take 2 steps back. Other than you, will anyone else be at the trial today? Yes, my husbands and my friends will all be there. Mrs. Qin, someone saw you get into President Su's car last night. You guys are in an ambiguous relationship, so... Before the reporter could finish, Huamin smiled and said, I also went to President Hua's house for dinner last night. Does that mean that I'm in an ambiguous relationship with President Hua? The reporter was speechless. Huamin calmly answered every question thrown at him by the reporters. The crowd reacted quickly, and his answers were flawless. Many people were impressed by her, and no one dared to look down on her just because she was a 25-year-old girl. That's all for today. My friends are here, thank you. After speaking, Huamin walked straight into the courtroom. A large number of reporters were blocked outside the door by the police who maintained law and order. Wei Liao drove a black Mercedes-Benz 600 with Jiang Xiaowei. Zhu Lingling was sitting in Gao Ran's Jaguar. Inside Rick's Ferrari were Rick, and Cici. Su Yu's black Lamborghini. There was also Tang Chuan's white Porsche 918. The entrance of the courtroom was as spectacular as a luxury car show. Let's go in, everyone. Huamin nodded at everyone and was about to turn around. Suddenly, Zhu Lingling shouted, Look, who's that? Everyone turned around and saw a black Range Rover parked at the entrance. Hua Xiqian was wearing a red suit, just like the groom. It really pissed him off. President Hua, is there a happy occasion today? Why are you wearing such red? A gossipy reporter asked. If I'm not wearing red, am I supposed to wear black? It's not like I'm here for a funeral. Hua Xiqian adjusted his collar and replied nonchalantly. Ha! President Hua, you're so funny. The reporter laughed awkwardly. Hua Xiqian walked up the stairs step by step. He was 10 steps away from Huamin. What are you doing here? Gao Ran asked angrily. If it weren't for the fact that they were in public, he would have beaten this guy up. Rick was also looking at him with hatred in his eyes. Huamin was very calm. He only glanced at Rick's face. I'm here for the trial. I'm very interested in this case. Don't forget, the victim, Song Yisher, is my wife. Mayor Song is my father-in-law, bastard. Zhu Lingling wanted to run up and scratch Hua Xiqian's face. However, Huamin reached out and stopped her. Lingling, don't be impulsive. Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin from head to toe and smiled. Mian, you're dressed very ominously today. You only wear black to a funeral. Upon hearing this, everyone's expressions changed. Chapter 1552. Upon hearing Hua Xiqian's words, everyone was enraged. Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling were just about to rush up to him. Huamin smiled at Hua Xiqian and said, When you die, I'll be dressed even darker than this. Thank you, but I won't die so soon. I'll live a long time, because I want to be by your side. Hua Xiqian, watch your words. Gao Ran was furious. Let's not argue here, it's meaningless. Let's go. Huamin was very calm, even though she hated Hua Xiqian to the core. However, she wanted to see Qin Chu as soon as possible. The group of people entered the courtroom. Mayor Song arrived very late. The police cars cleared the way, blocking the reporters and media from entering twice. Mayor Song wore a black suit and appeared in the courtroom in a low-key manner. He sat in the first row on the right, next to Hua Xiqian. Dad, don't worry, Qin Chu will pay for what he did, Hua Xiqian whispered into Mayor Song's ear. Mayor Song didn't say a word, but his expression was serious. Huamin and the others all sat on the left. That Hua Xiqian, I don't know what he said to Mayor Song, but it's so infuriating, Zhu Lingling cursed. Gao Ran tightly held on to her hand. Don't worry, he'll get what he deserves. He won't have a good ending. Jiang Xiaowei held on to her bulging belly with one hand. Wei Liao picked up a white coat and put it on her. Huamin sat next to Jiang Xiaowei. She seemed a little nervous. She missed Qin Chu so much that he was locked up. She didn't have the chance to visit him. After about 10 minutes, all the court employees were in position. Bring the suspect, Qin Chu. The chief judge gave the order. Huamin nervously crossed his arms and looked towards the entrance. Qin Chu walked out with the help of 2 police officers. He was wearing cold handcuffs. It's Qin Chu. Zhu Lingling pointed in that direction and looked over with Gao Ran. Huamin teared up the moment he saw Qin Chu. He had lost weight, and looked a little haggard, but he was still as handsome as ever. Mr. Qin's looks were widely acknowledged. Even Su Yu, Hua Xiqian, and many other celebrities couldn't compare. That kind of aura was innate. The moment Qin Chu entered, he raised his head and looked at Huamin. Then, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Huamin couldn't help but cry. She stood up and wanted to run up to him and hug him. Mian, you can't go over there. Jiang Shaowei rationally pulled Huamin back. Qin Chu gave Huamin a look that said, I'm fine, don't worry. Then, he walked up to the defendant's stand. The lawyers hired by the police and GK's legal team began a long and intense standoff. There was a small interlude in this. Originally, Qin Chu's case was to be defended by the famous Chinese lawyer, Dennis Wu. But the strange thing was that Dennis was attacked and shot on the first day he was about to come to China. Although his life wasn't in danger, he couldn't leave the hospital, so he couldn't come. Rick and Huamin both knew that this wasn't a coincidence. It had to be Hua Xiqian's doing, but they couldn't do anything about it. The police's lawyer had a strong stance and was also a well-known lawyer in China. Apparently, he was personally appointed by Mayor Song. He looked at Qin Chu and asked, on the day of the incident, where were you around 3 in the morning? I was at Song Yisher's mansion. Why were you there? She sent me a message, saying that she had something important to tell you. What important thing? Did she say it? Qin Chu glanced at Hua Xiqian, who was sitting in the courtroom. Hua Xiqian gave Qin Chu a provocative smile. Chapter 1553. She didn't say anything, Qin Chu replied indifferently. The victim, Miss Song Yisher, was only seen by you on the night of her death. Therefore, we have enough reason to suspect that you are the murderer. The evidence is indeed perfect, but unfortunately, I am not the murderer. I will not plead guilty. Qin Chu's expression was very calm. There was no trace of fear or anxiety in his eyes. Huamin liked this side of him. It was as if the world was coming to an end, but he didn't seem to care. Your Honor, I've finished my questions, the opposing lawyer said. Suspect, do you have anything else you want to defend yourself? Perhaps you can try to recall if there are any important clues that you missed, the judge asked Qin Chu. Huamin was slightly nervous, so you've handed him a tissue. Wipe the sweat off your palms. Huamin took the tissue and crumpled it into a bowl. His eyes were fixed on Qin Chu. No, I have nothing else to say. Qin Chu felt that there was no point in saying anything at this point. Hua Xiqian must have been fully prepared. With so much evidence, it would be pointless to say anything. Then, do you plead guilty? No, I didn't kill anyone. Qin Chu still said the same thing. The first trial will end here. The official verdict will be announced in 7 days. Court is adjourned. The presiding judge hammered the gavel and ended the hour-long first trial. When Qin Chu was taken away, his gaze was fixed on Huamin. He raised his hand and made a gesture of drinking something. Then, he smiled at Huamin. Huamin knew that he wanted to tell him to drink more water. Because they were too far away, they couldn't hear each other, so they could only make hand gestures. With tears in his eyes, Huamin used hand gestures to tell Qin Chu, I love you very much, I'll wait for you to come back. Qin Chu immediately understood, then, he nodded slightly and was taken away by the police. After Qin Chu's figure disappeared, Huamin got up and left. She walked quickly. Su Yu, who was behind her, quickly followed because he noticed that something was wrong with her mood. When Huamin walked out, she barged past the media, got into her car, and sped away. Lord Su. Hurry up and follow her. Okay. Su Yu's Lamborghini got into his Lamborghini and chased after Huamin. Mian didn't look too good just now, Jiang Shaowei said worriedly. Lord Su's here, don't worry. Is his tea Mian's? Gao Ran didn't say anything, but he hugged Zhu Lingling tightly with one hand. Was Xichen, that bastard, he made the couple so miserable. I'm going to tear him apart. After speaking, Zhu Lingling pushed Gao Ran away and ran towards Hua Xichen's car. Hua Xichen was just about to get into the car. Seeing Zhu Lingling's angry face, he immediately looked at her cautiously. Hua Xichen. You're not a man. I don't need you to judge whether I'm a man or not. He glanced at Zhu Lingling's face indifferently. I'm going all out. In order to help Huamin, Zhu Lingling clawed at Hua Xichen. However, Hua Xichen pushed her hard and she fell to the ground. Gao Ran immediately ran over and helped Zhu Lingling up. Lingling, are you okay? Captain Gao, please look after your family. This is a lawful society. Your family member hit someone in front of the media. She's out of control, I think. My wife doesn't need you to teach her a lesson. Gao Ran clenched his teeth and cursed at Hua Xichen. Ha! You too, better not fall into my hands. Hua Xichen glanced at their faces darkly. Then, he made a sharp turn and drove away. Zhu Lingling was so angry that she cursed behind him, Bastard, you'll die a horrible death. Lingling, you're too impulsive, what you did was useless. Gao Ran helped Zhu Lingling up and held her in his arms. Jiang Shaowei also walked over and comforted her. Gao Ran is right, Lingling, we have to believe in Mian, and that Qin Chu will be fine. Siyu originally thought that he would be able to catch up to Huamin and stop him, however, he didn't expect that. The two of them went from the second ring road to the third ring road, and finally to the fourth ring road. However, he still couldn't catch up. It was also the first time that Su Yu saw Huamin's driving skills so good and fast. No wonder he beat Song Yishuan, his driving skills were really. Finally, Huamin stopped at a remote beach. Then, he sat down on a rock and lowered his head. Su Yu ran over, panting. I'm so tired, why did you run so fast? Su Yu, do you think Qin Chu will be sentenced to death in the second trial? When Huamin looked up and asked this question, his face was covered in tears. Su Yu felt so heartbroken that he almost couldn't breathe. It was his first time seeing Huamin so fragile. Like a piece of porcelain, he would shatter with a single touch. Chapter 1554. What are you talking about? He didn't kill anyone. How could he be sentenced to death? The evidence is perfect. Huamin lowered her head in defeat. Su Yu walked over to Huamin and put her hands on her shoulders. Huamin, cheer up. You can't fall down now. You have to be strong. You have to be strong. You have to be strong. But I'm so tired. I'm scared, you still have me. Su Yu looked at Huamin gently and said softly. Don't be scared. You can do it. Qin Chu is still waiting for you to help him clear his name. There are still 7 days until the second trial. We still have a lot of time to find evidence and find Hua Xichen's weakness. But Hua Xichen is not someone who would reveal his weakness. Huamin's voice was very low. She had no confidence in herself. She knew Hua Xichen too well. Hua Xichen was very secretive when it came to doing things. He would never leave behind any weaknesses that could be used against him. If it were someone else, it might be possible. However, if it was Hua Xichen, it would be harder than ascending to heaven. Don't treat him like a god. No matter how careful he is, he's still human. Plus, even if Qin Chu is sentenced to death, we still have a way. What way? Hua Min raised her head and looked at Su Yu with sad eyes. I can ask my grandfather to get Qin Chu out on medical parole, Su Yu said as she gritted her teeth. Is that okay? Hua Min's eyes shone with a glimmer of hope. It shouldn't be a problem. My grandfather, you know, that old man is the head of a military region. He's a powerful person in Jing City. He won't refuse to give you face. When the time comes, we'll think of a way to make Qin Chu say he's sick and let you out on medical parole. Then, you guys can go abroad and lie low for a while. When everything calms down, you can come back. Su Yu's intention was the same as Rick's. Rick wanted to break out of prison. Su Yu was going to be released on bail for medical treatment. In the end, he was going to be sent overseas. However, the nature of the case was different. Rick breaking out of prison was a crime on top of a crime, and Qin Chu would have to bear the crime of being a murderer for the rest of his life. On the other hand, Su Yu had openly left the prison and went abroad to recuperate. Although Su Yu's idea seemed really good, Hua Min knew that Su Yu made it sound easy. However, it wasn't easy at all to do it, because the victim was Song Yishe. All the leaders in the province were paying close attention to the case. If the Su family really wanted to make such a big move, they would probably be caught red-handed by others. If the media were to spread rumors, then Grandpa Su's reputation would be ruined. Plus, Lord Su would never agree to this. Su Yu, thank you, but I don't want to do this. Please don't drag Lord Su into this. The fewer people involved, the better. Otherwise, I'll feel even more uneasy. Qin Chu won't agree to this either. He's not that selfish. He won't drag others into this because of his own problems. It's not that hard. Su Yu replied, trying to cover up the truth. Don't treat me like an idiot. I know how hard this is. I'm very touched by your concern. You're right, I have to pull myself together. If I fall, what will happen to Qin Chu? Hua Min felt like her heart was being pierced by a knife when she thought about how haggard Qin Chu looked today. Then, she slowly got up and ran towards the ocean. Su Yu was so scared that he followed closely behind her. What are you doing? Come back here. Chapter 1555. Don't worry, I won't commit suicide by jumping into the sea. Suicide is the action of a coward. Hua Min shouted as she ran. Then, she walked to the beach, where the seawater reached her knees. She shouted towards the sea, Hua Min, you have to be strong. Su Yu glanced at her and then walked over. Standing beside her, he shouted, you have to be strong, Hua Min. Then, the two looked at each other and smiled. After venting, Hua Min returned to the car. After a simple lunch with Su Yu, they went straight back to GK. Then, they continued to work. After work, Hua Min drove to the first hospital. President Wu's office, Mian, come sit down. President Wu was really nice to Hua Min, as if she was family. Speaking of which, although President Wu didn't teach Hua Min anything, he always gave her opportunities and provided her with a platform. He was a teacher who recognized her talent. After all, not all talents in the world could meet someone who recognized them. Director. Hua Min, dressed in a professional suit, walked over and sat on the sofa in the director's office. His assistant made tea for the two of them. President Wu walked over and pushed the teacup over. Here, try it. I heard that you like Westlake Longjing very much. Yeah, because it has a sweet and refreshing taste. I like green tea very much. Hua Min smiled, picked up the teacup, and took a sip. How is it? It's not bad. I bought it a few days ago when I passed by Westlake on a business trip. I heard that the real Longjing is watered with Longquan water, President Wu said slowly. That's right, all good things are made with great care. Hua Mian nodded. So, you are the best you after going through so many difficulties, President Wu looked at Hua Min and said lovingly. President. Hua Min was slightly touched. Hua Min, so many things have happened during this period of time. You've been worried about Qin Chu, managed the company, and took care of your in-laws who are hospitalized. At the same time, you've had to deal with so much public opinion and violence. If it were any other girl, she would have broken down a long time ago. Me too. Hua Min smiled. But you made it through again. Even in the most desperate moment, I hope you don't give up. We have an old saying in China, put death in order to be reborn. I believe that you'll make it through this difficult time. There's also another saying, joy comes from the depths of misfortune. You've already experienced so much unhappiness, so, after the storm, there's a beautiful sunny day. Ha, Dean, you have such a literary side to you. The feeling of instantly transforming into Master Yu Qiuyu. Go away. You're still in the mood to joke at a time like this. Hua Min's words made President Wu feel embarrassed. The words of the ancients make a lot of sense in the afterlife. When the heavens are about to give a great responsibility to a great man, they will first torture his will, work his muscles and bones, and starve his body and skin. I think that you're not an ordinary person. It's unfortunate that you've endured so much, but it's also fortunate that you're still so young. It's fortunate that what you have is something that others may never have in their lifetime. Yes, I think that if I have Qin Chu, I have the whole world. Hua Min smiled faintly. The afterglow of the setting sun shone in, and a beam of light shone on her face. It instantly moistened the corners of Hua Min's lips, making her smile even more beautiful. What do you plan to do with your father-in-law? President Wu changed the subject and asked. Hua Min was slightly silent. I've read his medical record, and it doesn't look good. The surgery can't be delayed. Qin Chu was the one who wanted to do the surgery for my father. Now that Qin Chu has been locked up, the surgery has been delayed. I don't know how long my father-in-law can hold on. Qin Chu's second trial is still 7 days away. Hua Min was conflicted. I'm afraid he can't hold on for 7 days. Why don't we let Dr. Liu and the others do the surgery? It's not impossible, but the surgery is extremely difficult, and we're worried that something might go wrong. Hua Min was honest with her thoughts. Why don't you do the surgery? President Wu looked at Hua Min tentatively and asked. Me? Hua Min was slightly surprised. Chapter 1556. Then, she immediately waved her hand. No. Although I studied neurosurgery on my own, I don't have clinical experience. The brain structure is too complicated, and I'm not confident. I can't take the risk. I think if you can do it with Dr. Liu and the others, the success rate of this surgery will be much higher. President Wu had never misjudged people. Of course, Qin Chu was the best neurosurgeon. However, the situation was so tense that Qin Chu couldn't get along. Wasn't using Hua Min another way? I don't think I can do it, Hua Min said in a low voice. But I think you can do it. President Wu. Hua Min looked up but didn't know what to say. It's not like you're doing it alone. Just treat it as assisting Dr. Liu. After all, he's your family. Are you willing to take the risk? Director, this is a serious matter. I don't dare to make a decision so easily. How about this? Give me some time to think about it. Okay, then you have to hurry. The surgery can't be delayed for long. Within 3 days. Okay, then you can go back first. We'll talk on the phone. After walking out of the director's office, Hwa-min was still thinking about the director's words. Perform a craniotomy on his father-in-law. Wasn't that too risky? After going downstairs, Hwa-min went to visit his in-laws. Then, he went to the OB/GYN department to see the head nurse. Su-yen, the head nurse of the OB/GYN department of the first hospital, was his first boss. Although she was strict, she was a very upright person. Hwa-min had always been in contact with her. Although they didn't see each other often, they still had feelings for each other. Head nurse. Hey. Mion, why are you here? Su-yen had just finished work and was sitting in her office. She was surprised to see Hwa-min. I just talked to President Wu about my father-in-law's illness, so I wanted to come and see you. I just finished work. Come and sit down. Su-yen liked Hwa-min very much. She looked at him with doting eyes. I've also heard about your father-in-law's illness. It's said that it's very difficult. Is he going to have an operation soon? Hwa-min nodded. Yes, it can't be delayed for much longer. His condition is worsening very quickly. Have some faith. Believe in miracles. Su-yen patted Hwa-min's shoulder to comfort him. Yes. Head nurse. Actually, I came here today because I need your help with some personal matters. Go ahead, the head nurse said without hesitation. Do you remember introducing a boyfriend to me before? Oh. Are you talking about my distant cousin? Yes, his name is Lin Mingyu. I remember. What's wrong? Su-yen smiled. I'd like to get his contact information. What? Don't tell me you. Su-yen knew about Hwa-min's divorce, so she was surprised that Hwa-min wanted to get back together. No, don't get me wrong. I just want to ask him about my husband's case. I heard that he's the forensic doctor in charge of the autopsy. Oh, I see. Okay, wait a second, I'll get you his phone number. The head nurse quickly gave Hwa-min the phone number. When Hwa-min walked out of the hospital, he called Lin Mingyu. Hello, is this Mr. Lin Mingyu? I am. Who is this? I don't know if you still remember me. I'm Hwa-min. Yes, a young lady from GK. Lin Mingyu's tone was calm. Hwa-min felt a bit awkward. Excuse me, I just got your number from head nurse Su. Actually, there's something I want to ask you. I wonder if it's convenient for you. After 5 seconds of silence, Lin Mingyu said, I'm at work right now. I can come to you. I promise I won't take up too much of your time. Is that okay? Hwa-min asked carefully. What you want to ask is related to your husband's murder case, right? Lin Mingyu suddenly asked. Chapter 1557. Yeah. Hwa-min didn't try to hide anything. There was another moment of silence. Finally, Lin Mingyu said, then come find me at the bureau. There's a Sichuan restaurant nearby. Wait for me there. Okay. After Hwa-min hung up the phone, he drove straight to the famous Sichuan restaurant near the bureau. After about 15 minutes, Lin Mingyu finally arrived. He was wearing a white lab coat. It seemed like he didn't have time to change. There was a strong smell of formalin on his body. I'm sorry, I'm too busy to change. Do you mind? Of course not. Hwa-min smiled. Right, I almost forgot. You're a doctor too, so you should be used to this smell. Hwa-min smiled as he handed over the menu. Order, I'll treat you to dinner. I'm fine with anything. You decide. Lin Mingyu pushed the menu back to Hwa-min. Hwa-min had to ask again, do you eat spicy food? Of course. Okay. Huamin looked at the menu and called the waiter over. I'd like a portion of boiled fish, how spicy and how numb. Okay. The waiter immediately took out the menu. I'd like a portion of Chuanbei cold jelly. I'd like a portion of blueberry yam. I'd like a portion of stir-fried broccoli. And a portion of Westlake beef soup, that's enough. Huamin, there's only the two of us. We can't finish all of this. Lin Mingyu quickly stopped him. That's enough. Huamin handed the menu to the waiter and poured a glass of water for Lin Mingyu. Thank you. Dr. Lin. I'm a straightforward person. I don't like to pretend to be close to people, and I don't like to beat around the bush either. I'll be direct. I know that you're the forensic doctor for this case, so I have a lot of questions that I want to ask you. After all, I can't let my husband be wronged. I have to clear his name. You mean, your husband didn't kill her? Lin Mingyu wasn't surprised. He just asked quietly. Huamin nodded. Yes, he was set up. As the president of GK, my husband has many ways to kill someone. He's not stupid enough to do it himself. Wouldn't that be asking for arrest? You're right. I think so too. But in today's society, everything is about evidence. If your husband can't prove his innocence, he can only take the blame. Dr. Lin, is there anything suspicious about Song Yisher's body? What are you referring to? Lin Mingyu asked. Just some suspicious things, the time of death, or, other than Qin Chu's skin, are there any other fingerprints on the body? Dr. Hua, this is highly classified information, Lin Mingyu said calmly as he looked at Huamin. Huamin didn't say anything and bit his lip. It's not that I don't want to talk about it, but there are some things that I really can't talk about. This case is too important. The mayor and the leaders of the city bureau told me not to divulge any details, so I can't talk about it. Then can you tell me if anyone did anything to the body? Huamin already knew that Hua Xiqin wouldn't leave any clues, but he still wanted to try. No, there are no clues. You heard what the police lawyer said during the first trial. The time of death and the cause of death, and the skin on Song Yisher's body that your husband left behind. The two of them had an argument. It's all true. No one would dare to give false testimony in such a big case. Then, was the victim sexually assaulted before she died? Huamin asked. Chapter 1558. She knew that Qin Chu would never touch Song Yisher. Therefore, if someone could find out that Song Yisher had been sexually assaulted, it must have been Hua Xiqin or Hua Xiqin's people. No. Did you check carefully? Was there really nothing? Maybe the suspect wore a condom. Huamin asked. Dr. Hua, don't doubt my professionalism. I'm an experienced forensic doctor. I can tell that the victim was sexually assaulted. Even if the suspect wore a condom, I can still tell. The victim's body was not sexually assaulted. Her uterus is perfectly preserved, and there are no signs of secretions. I can say for sure that she was not sexually assaulted. She probably didn't have sex for a long time before she died. I'm sorry, I just cared too much about this case. I didn't mean to question your professionalism. Please don't misunderstand. I understand. Anyone would care. After all, the suspect is your husband. Huamin remained silent. I heard, you guys got a divorce. Lin Mingyu suddenly asked. Yes, he had his own difficulties at the time. What do you plan to do now? Wait for him to come out. Huamin lowered his head. What if he doesn't come out? Are you still going to wait? Lin Mingyu stared at Huamin's face and asked. Yes, I'll keep waiting. You're so stubborn. No wonder my cousin said you're stubborn. Lin Mingyu smiled. Huamin didn't say anything else. Just then, the waiters began to serve the dishes. The two of them stopped talking about the case. Instead, they talked about some medical matters. When it was time to pay the bill, Lin Mingyu rushed to pay before Huamin could. Didn't I say I'd treat you? I can't let a woman pay for me. I don't have that habit. Lin Mingyu smiled. Before they left, Huamin took out his phone. Huh? Why is the battery dead? What's wrong? He asked. My phone ran out of battery. I wanted to call the company. If you remember the number, use my phone. Lin Mingyu took out his phone. Huamin carefully took the phone and thanked him. Thank you, Dr. Lin. You're welcome. It's just a small matter. Huamin picked up his phone and skillfully dialed a number. After listening for a while, he said in annoyance, I actually dialed the wrong number. I'm really drunk. Then, she dialed again. Out of courtesy, Lin Mingyu walked to the entrance of the restaurant and waited for her. Huamin walked out after finishing the call. Here's your phone. Thank you for lunch, Dr. Lin. You're welcome. Actually, I'm sorry. I didn't help you much. No, you've already helped me a lot by coming and discussing the case with me. I'll leave first. Goodbye. Huamin, Huamin turned around. Take care, Lin Mingyu suddenly said. The Huamin now was completely different from the last time they met. Her aura was stronger and more beautiful, however, there were too many things in her eyes. Huamin was too tired. Even an outsider like Lin Mingyu could tell. You too. Huamin smiled and nodded. Then, he got into his car and left. Huamin drove to the company. His phone rang. Sister Huamin, what's up? Huamin's voice was gentle. I know that Sister Ingzi wants to terminate her contract. I also know that she betrayed me and the company. Huamin was silent. Sis, why didn't you tell me earlier? And Yang, where are you? Huamin didn't answer his question directly. Instead, he asked a question of his own. Chapter 1559. I'm at GK. Wait for me, I'll talk to you when I get back. After hanging up, Huamin drove straight back to GK while Yang sat in the office and waited for him. Assistant Yang seemed to be indignant as he told Yang a lot of things. He even told Huamian that when GK was in trouble, Ingzi wanted to terminate Yang's contract and didn't want to pay double the termination fee. Upon hearing this, Yang's handsome face turned completely cold. No wonder Ingzi kept trying to persuade him to leave GK. At first, he didn't think much of it, but now it seemed that not only did she ignore others for her own benefit, she even made Jia the scapegoat. Unfortunately, Chen Jia wasn't good with words and never said anything bad about Ingzi. This made Yang even angrier. A young lady is back. Assistant Yang immediately greeted Huamin when he saw him at the door. Emichim, where's Yang? He's been waiting for you at GK for half an hour. Huamin pushed open the door and walked in. Sis, let me drink some water first, I'll talk to you later. Huamin walked to the fridge, took out 2 bottles of water, and handed one to Yang. Then, he opened the other bottle and took a big gulp. Sis, why didn't you tell me everything earlier? Yang looked at Huamin sadly. Where did you hear that? Huamin was never the kind of person who would encourage others to do things behind their backs, so he wouldn't tell Yang about how evil Ingzi was. Everyone at GK knows, I'm the only one who doesn't know. She caused a scene in your office, but you didn't even tell me. I didn't want you to be sad. After all, Ingzi has been with you for so long. Indeed, she has a great influence on me, but I can't just stand by and watch her make mistakes. She doesn't want to hurt you, she just cares about her own interests. She's not wrong. Yang was slightly surprised and looked at Huamin. Sis, what do you mean? Yang. GK isn't doing well right now. If you want to terminate your contract, I won't ask you to pay me. Don't say any more, I'm not leaving. Yang was very agitated and stood up immediately. Yang, sis, stop, I know you're doing this for my own good. You're good friends with President Su of Imperial Star, and I'm sure he won't mistreat me, but I won't leave. I came to GK for you, and as long as you're with GK, I'll be here. We met by chance, but you treated me like your own little brother. You helped me reconcile with my mother, helped them get through their tough times, and helped my brother get a kidney transplant. You helped me turn down a lot of work to help me recover. You even gave me the best resources at GK and made me a top star. Although I'm young, I'm not a heartless person. People always say that a drop of water should be repaid with a gushing spring. Although I can't repay a gushing spring, I'll never betray you. This isn't betrayal. Huamin comforted him. If I leave you at a time like this, then I'll be betraying you. Yang looked at Huamin and said loudly. But GK really isn't doing well right now. My husband isn't back yet, and the company's shares have been maliciously acquired. So, the future is uncertain. Before Huamin could finish, Yang interrupted him. Sis, GK will get better. Even if the worst comes to worst, I'll just quit being a star. Yang's words shocked Huamin. Then, he smiled and said, you know me. Although I'm young, I've been in the entertainment industry for a long time, and I've experienced a lot. I've been in this industry for a long time, and I've grown tired of it. I've seen through fame and fortune, and I've given up on being a star. I might feel sad without flowers and applause, but a normal life is also a kind of happiness for me. The truth is, I've made a lot of money over the years, and I won't be able to spend it all in this lifetime. I've been thinking that after I quit being a star, I'll marry Jia, have kids, and live a normal life. I'm actually very envious of how much love you and President Qin have. I think no amount of money, fame, and fortune can buy a person who loves you wholeheartedly. What do you think? Chapter 1560. I didn't expect you to see things so clearly. At this moment, Huamin had a whole new level of respect for Yang. He was younger than her, yet he could see through so much and say so much. Huamin thought that in this real world, there weren't many people who valued relationships. Previously, when she saw the news on a certain website, whenever there was a story about someone using their own money to do a good deed, or someone jumping into a river to commit suicide, someone would comment that they were a hero and a good person. One of the comments left a deep impression on Huamin. The netizen commented, if the price of being a good person is to suffer losses and sacrifice yourself, then sorry, I don't want to be a good person. So, although Huamin had a big fight with Yingzi and used the penalty to shut her up, Huamin didn't care. In her heart, she never thought of asking Yang to pay double the penalty. She even planned to let Yang go. He didn't have the obligation to take on the company's risks with her. However, Yang made up his mind at this moment. He was so loyal. Huamin felt that everything she did for Yang in the past was worth it. She should help such a kind person. Sis, it's settled, I've already terminated my contract with Yingzi Studio. From now on, I'm no longer an artist under her. I've made a lot of money for her over the years. I'll still say the same thing, as long as the company exists, I'll still be here. If the company doesn't work out, I'll quit the entertainment industry. I'll take this opportunity to have a good rest. Don't think too much about it, I know you've been under a lot of pressure recently, so I didn't dare to bother you on WeChat. I believe that you and President Chin will make it through. You're so strong and wise. That's enough, you brat, don't flatter me. If you continue to praise me, I'll get carried away. Hua-min laughed. Go ahead, you have the right to be carried away, because you're Hua-min. Ni Yang looked into Hua-min's eyes and said slowly, "Aw, you brat, you've moved me again. You're so annoying. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I've been very emotional lately. I cry a lot," Hua-min complained as he wiped the corners of his eyes. All right. Don't be so emotional. Ha, calm down a bit, sis. Didn't you say it before? Other than life and death, everything else in this world is insignificant. Indeed. Hua-min nodded. It's settled then. I'll go check on Jia at Southside. When you're done, we'll treat you and President Chin to dinner, okay? Hua-min smiled slightly. He especially liked to hear Ni Yang's heartwarming words. After Ni Yang left, Hua-min buried himself in his work. When it was past 7:00 in the evening, she walked out of the company and planned to eat something. At this moment, she received a call from her mother-in-law. Mom, Mian, hurry up and come. What's wrong? Hua-min immediately asked upon hearing his mother-in-law's anxious tone. Mian, your dad, what happened to my dad? Hua-min's heart skipped a beat. Your dad's been in a bad mood recently, and he hasn't been able to sleep at night. I thought he was just worried about the company in Chu, so I didn't think much of it. But I just realized that he's gone. What do you mean? He's on the rooftop of the hospital. He wants to die. No matter what I say, he won't come back. Hurry up and come. Mrs. Chin couldn't stop crying. Hua-min's heart skipped a beat upon hearing this. Mom, wait for me, I'll be right there. Chapter 1561. When Hua-min walked over, he saw a particularly thrilling scene. Qin Yumin stood on the rooftop of the hospital. In the cold wind, he was wearing a hospital gown and looked very thin. Mian, you're finally here. Come and see your dad. Lady Qin's eyes were red from crying. A large group of medical staff stood at the entrance of the rooftop, and there were also many onlookers below. The fire department and the police were all there, but no one dared to go up. Qin Yumin was standing on the edge, as if he would fall down if he wasn't careful. Mom. I'll go talk to Dad first. Don't worry. Hua-min comforted his mother-in-law and walked towards the rooftop. Qin Yumin had his back to the rooftop. He looked down at the tall buildings and traffic below him, thinking about something. Dad, Hua-min's father, Dr. Qin Yumin, slowly turned around. Mian, you're here. His voice was very deep, and his mood and expression were very different from usual. Dad, if you have something to say, we can talk it out. What are you doing? Do you know how worried we are about you? Hua-min was also scared. Qin Yumin was an upright person and would never do something like this to scare people. He only did this because he had suicidal thoughts. Mian, my illness can't be cured. Cancer is a disease that the whole world can't cure, not to mention that I have brain cancer. We can't give up hope. Dad, Qin Chu isn't here, but I can still do the surgery for you. Mian, listen to me. Qin Yumin looked at Hua-min meaningfully and said, our family was harmed by evil people, and the stock market crashed. I know all of this, and the company is in danger. You don't have to hold on anymore. I don't think I'll be able to hold on for much longer with my illness. Why don't I just jump in and take on this debt so that you and Chu don't have to worry about it? Dad, how can you think like that? GK is in a bit of trouble right now, but it's not at the end of the road. I haven't given up yet, so why should you? Huamin comforted him with tears in his eyes. The truth was, Huamin understood what Huamin meant. Her father-in-law was saying that he had cancer and couldn't be cured. He didn't have much longer to live, so he might as well jump down and take on all of GK's debts. That way, the courts and banks wouldn't have a reason to ask her and Qin Chu's debts. However, life and death was a big deal. How could it be so easy? Dad, don't be rash. You only have one life. If you jump down, there's no turning back. Qin Chu hasn't come out yet. If he knows that you've made this choice, he'll be sad. A few days ago, you told me that we could just sell the company. What's important is that we stay together as a family. Why aren't you keeping your promise now? I just don't want to burden you. You've been busy these days. Other than going to the police station to take care of Chu, you also have to take care of me and my wife, and take care of GK. Mian, you've worked hard. It's our fortune to have a daughter-in-law like you. Dad, don't treat me like an outsider. We're family. Mian, take good care of your mom. If the truth comes out and Chu can still come out, tell him that I'm sorry. I'm going to leave now. Then, Qin Yuman's body moved forward a little more, and he was about to fall. If he fell from a 10-story building, he would be smashed to pieces. Lady Qin howled behind him, "Old Qin, don't be so stupid. How are you going to live if you leave me alone?" At that critical moment, Huamin suddenly shouted, "Dad, I'm pregnant." Chapter 1562. What? Just as Qin Yuman had one foot in the air, Huamin's words made him hesitate. Dad, haven't you always wanted to see your granddaughter and grandson? Huamin couldn't stop his tears from falling. Mian, are you really? Huamin nodded as he cried, "That's great, our Qin family has a descendant." Qin Yuman raised his head and sighed. Seeing this, the firefighters beside him immediately went up and pulled him back from the edge of the rooftop. All the onlookers broke out in cold sweat. Huamian felt like a huge rock had been lifted off her chest. Lady Qin was so excited that her vision turned black and she fainted on the ground. Mom, how are you?" Huamin quickly supported his mother-in-law. "Dr. Hua, I think your mother-in-law might be too scared, so..." The nurse comforted him. "Please take her to the emergency room and see what's going on." "Okay." After the mother-in-law was pushed away, Huamin helped his father-in-law back to the VIP ward. "Dad, the company isn't that bad yet. I'll think of a way, trust me. I don't want to make things difficult for you. If you can't do it, just sell it." Mian, Qin Yuman persuaded. Then, he said, "You're pregnant now, you shouldn't work too hard." "It's okay, Dad. I'm not that delicate. I'm in good shape, don't worry. I'll go check on Mom, you should rest first." Qin Yuman nodded, took some medicine, and slowly fell asleep. Because Huamin was pregnant, Qin Yuman gave up on the idea of committing suicide. Instead, he actively cooperated with the treatment. Huamin went to check on his mother-in-law. After confirming that she was fine, he left the hospital. Walking out of the hospital, Huamin's heart was heavy. She said that she was pregnant to lie to her father-in-law so that he could live. But Huamin rubbed her belly. She hadn't gotten pregnant after so many times. How could it be this time? Huamin did not know that there was a little life in her stomach. She even felt guilty for deceiving her father-in-law. She planned to wait for her father-in-law to cooperate with the treatment. After the surgery, she would slowly explain to him. Back to Sky Blessing Court, Huamin was not in the mood to eat, so he boiled some water himself. Then, he drank some sugar water to replenish his body's nutrients. Then, he took out his laptop and continued to deal with some emails from the company. At this moment, the doorbell suddenly rang. Min immediately stood up and walked quietly to the door. He peeked through the door mirror. Only then did he feel relieved. He thought that it was Xichen, that pervert, plotting something again. So it was actually Su Yu. After seeing that it was Su Yu, Min breathed a sigh of relief and opened the door. Just as he was about to speak, he was dumbfounded. Su Yu did not come alone. Behind him were Wei Liao, Tang Chuan, and a young man. Who was that? Min had a good memory. He thought for a moment and remembered. It was Wei Liao's brother-in-law, the heir of the Shen family, and Wei Ying's fiancé, Shen Qingxi. He was also the man that Hui Yanyan desperately pursued for a long time. It was said that the Shen family was also a rich family. However, the members of the family were too low-key, and there were very few reports about them. Su Yu brought these people here. This was, before Min could speak, Su Yu turned around and looked at them. Come in. Damn. Is this your home? Why are you so casual? Tang Chuan laughed. What's going on? After everyone entered the house, Min whispered into Su Yu's ear, we're here for dinner. After Su Yu said this, Min noticed that the four of them were carrying big bags of food. Ahem. Min coughed violently, feeling very awkward. Other than Su Yu, the problem was that he wasn't very close to the others. Wei Liao was a little better because he was Xiao Wei's husband. But Tang Chuan and Shen Qingxi, Min didn't think he was close enough to them to eat at his home. What was going on? Who could tell him? Chapter 1563. I'm afraid I don't know how to cook. Wei Liao is the best at this. Let him do it, Tang Chuan yelled as he took out the seafood from the food bag. Wei Liao's here, where's Xiao Wei? I didn't tell Xiao Wei. Su Yu replied. Min, it's between the guys, so I didn't bring Xiao Wei, but Xiao Wei knows, Su Yu added. Did you guys come to the wrong place for a party to come to my house? Min was speechless. When we eat, we'll talk about it. You'll know. Then, the four men began to get busy. Shen Qingxi went to wash a lot of fruits, while Tang Chuan helped Wei Liao prepare all kinds of seafood. Su Yu, on the other hand, had a lot of free time. He held the remote control and watched TV. Min was dumbfounded. The four most famous princes of the city were gathered at her house tonight. What kind of evil wind was blowing? Soon, a table full of seafood was ready. Wei Liao smiled. I'm sorry. If it's not good, please forgive me. Su Yu picked up a lobster and placed it on Min's plate. Min immediately felt nauseous when she smelled the fishy smell of seafood. However, she couldn't show her disgust in front of so many people, so she reached out and took a bite of an apple. I'm not hungry yet. I'll eat some fruit first. You guys eat first, Min said. The three men really didn't treat themselves as guests and began to eat. At this moment, Wei Liao took the lead. He looked at Min and said, Min, we're here because we have something to talk to you about. Go ahead. Lord Su, this was your idea. Why don't you say it? Wei Liao looked at Su Yu. You're such a big man. Min asked you to say it, so just say it. Su Yu glared at Wei Liao. This is your idea. I think it's better for you to say it yourself. Old Wei is right. You should say it, Lord Su, Tang Chuan echoed. Shen Qingxi did not say anything. He held a crab in his hand and ate it silently. Su Yu glanced at Min and said with a relaxed expression, it's nothing to be surprised about, don't be nervous. It's just that GK is in a bit of trouble right now. That bastard Xichen didn't play by the rules and seriously broke the rules of the game. We can't stand it anymore. After we found out that his subsidiary company was trying to acquire your company's shares, I wanted to work together to help you fight back against him. Fight back how? Huamin was dumbfounded. The four of us are going to invest 50 billion yuan into GK. Once the amount of foreign investment increases, it will dilute Hua Xiqian's shares. As long as he doesn't have more shares than you, he won't be able to do anything. 50 billion is too much. I'm afraid I won't be able to pay you back. Huamin looked around and said worriedly. This was the truth. If GK suddenly went bankrupt, they would have to pay back the money. She didn't want everyone's money to go down the drain. Look at you. Are you still the fearless Huamian that's afraid of nothing? We'll invest 50 billion yuan first. For the four of us, it's just a drop in the ocean. If that bastard Hua Xiqian doesn't like it and continues to maliciously acquire our shares, we'll continue to invest. The more he buys, the more we dilute. Trust us, no matter how rich he is, he won't be able to compete with the four of us working together. Su Yu was absolutely right. The four wealthiest families in the city all had big businesses. Each of them was filthy rich. Not to mention the four of them working together, but if we do this, even if it's 5 against 1, is it fair? Won't it be shameful if we win? Huamin asked. Chapter 1564. Su Yu poked Huamin's head with his finger. Are you dumb? You're still talking about fairness at a time like this. Do you still care about honor? Hua Xiqian did everything he could to hurt you, why are you still talking about morality? Upon hearing this, Huamin realized that Su Yu's words made sense. Then consider this money your investment, Huamin said slowly after a moment of silence. No, we're not investing, we're just lending you the money. You can return it to us after GK survives this crisis. We're not like that bastard Hua Xiqian, who would take advantage of you when you're down and buy shares at a low price. I'm not that kind of person. How can I do that? The four of you are lending me so much money. Huamin was flattered. Take it, Huamin, you're my friend. Su Yu looked at him seriously. Ahem, if you're Lord Su's friend, then you're my friend as well. Take it. You're Xiaowei's friend, it's okay for us to help you. Wei Liao smiled. With the crab in his hand, he glanced at Huamin and said quietly, You're my wife's sister-in-law's friend, which makes you a friend of the Shen family. We're willing to help you. Huamin was speechless. These few fellows actually spoke clearly and logically. Clearly, they had come prepared. Then I owe you a lot. I'm afraid I can't pay you back. Huamin knew that it was easy to pay back a debt, but it was hard to pay back a favor. If she went out and asked around, she wouldn't know who could easily borrow 10 billion yuan without an IOU. She didn't even have to ask, and they lent her the money. Huamin, don't feel burdened. We don't like that bastard Hua Xiqian either. Take it, once GK survives this crisis, everything will be fine. We believe in your abilities. Thank you, everyone. Huamin looked at the four men gratefully. It turned out that there was a reason why Su Yu had gathered everyone to eat at Huamin's house. It seemed that Bella was right. The only way to get through this crisis was through financing. Although it wasn't financing this time, it was indeed because of the four great clans that she was able to do it. Su Yu was right. At this time, they couldn't think too much. There was no time to think of any reasons. As long as he could protect GK from being swallowed up by Hua Xiqian, everything was worth it. What's more, the four families weren't buying their shares. They were just injecting capital in the name of borrowing money. Such a good thing was simply impossible to find even if one held a lantern. Later on, Huamin realized that GK wasn't worth that much. She was able to borrow 50 billion and get the 4 great clans to help her because she was Huamin. The name Huamin had already become a legend. Because this name was Su Yu's lifelong obsession, Su Yu and the others didn't stay for long. After eating, they cleaned up and left. 3 hours later, 50 billion was added to Huamin's personal account. Looking at the money, Huamin was extremely touched. If he could really get through this, he would definitely think of a way to repay this favor in the future. With the 4 great clans' investment, Huamin didn't have to worry about the company being swallowed up by Hua Xiqin. However, there were 2 more difficult problems than the company: her father-in-law's surgery tomorrow morning, and Qin Chu's second trial. After thinking for a long time, Huamin decided to follow President Wu's instructions. She wanted to personally participate in the surgery tomorrow morning, but because she didn't have much clinical experience with the brain. Therefore, she decided to be Dr. Lu's assistant and assist her in the surgery. Success or failure depended on this. It would be great if the surgery succeeded, but if it failed, how was she going to explain it to Qin Chu? Also, the second trial. After the first trial, it was basically set in stone. By the second trial, it would probably be a formality. At that time, there would definitely be a verdict. Huamin didn't want that day to come, however, she also wanted to see Qin Chu as soon as possible. Her heart was weighed down by these things. So much so that she had neglected the fact that her period was already late for 3 days. Late at night, Huamin sat on the bay window in his second-floor bedroom and looked into the distance. Chapter 1565. On the other hand, Mo Shui drove her Porsche to the Hua mansion. Hua Xiqian's whereabouts had been unpredictable lately. He wasn't at the company or at her place. At first, she thought that he had been charmed by that vixen Wang Shasha. Later, she found out that Wang Shasha had been eliminated by Hua Xiqian long ago. Therefore, she decided to come to the Hua mansion to find him. When she got out of the car, she saw Hua Xiqian walking out. The difference was that he was wearing a dark cashmere coat today. He was also wearing a black top hat. Xiqian, Mo Shui, hurriedly got out of the car and walked over. Before she could reach him, Hua Xiqian walked past her and into his car. It was as if he didn't see her. Xiqian. Mo Shui was upset that he ignored her, so she called out his name again. However, Hua Xiqian didn't seem to hear her as he got into his car and left. Was he so cold to her because his plan was about to succeed and he was about to get Huamin? Mo Shui's heart sank as she thought about how different Hua Xiqian was today. He was like a completely different person. You're crazy. Hua Xiqian. Go find Huamin. You'll regret it one day. Sooner or later, you'll die in the hands of Huamin. Mo Shui screamed at Hua Xiqian's car. However, no matter how much she screamed, Hua Xiqian ignored her. He drove away. After Mo Shui was rejected, she went to find Jiang Yi in a fit of pique. Huamin sat on the bay window for a long time and finally felt a little sleepy. She was about to go to bed when she saw a black shadow flash by downstairs. Then, in less than 10 seconds, she activated all the security systems in the house. The siren started to blare. Beep 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 beep. All the neighbors woke up and the security guards in the neighborhood rushed over. Huamin knew that someone was trying to sneak into her house. Ever since the window opened in the middle of the night, Huamin went to stay at Jiang Shaowei's house for a few days out of fear. After she came back, she developed a security system that combined computers and surveillance. After dark, the system's infrared system was activated. Any living thing that didn't enter the house through the door, even a little bird, would activate the alarm system. This meant that someone was trying to sneak into her house. Once the alarm went off, the enemy must have been alerted, the security guards' house. Comms T, what is it? Huamian opened the door. Miss Hua, are you all right? Did the alarm go off? The security guards asked. Yeah, a burglar broke into my house. Hua Mian looked calm. Hua s Hua Mian means as Hua's s door. Hua t s's. Of mean, they of Huan s, no, most of the owners have their own access cards. Strangers can't get in. Okay, it's fine. Do you need me to call the police? No, you can go now. Mississippi Hua, call us if you need anything. Got it. Hua Min closed the door and turned on the computer again to activate the security system. Fortunately, she was prepared. Otherwise, she wouldn't even know if someone sneaked in again. The security guards said that they didn't find anyone suspicious and that they were all owners of the neighborhood. Could it be that someone among the owners wanted to harm her? Or did Hua Xichen send someone to buy a house here? Hua Min's heart sank. She could clearly feel that there were enemies lurking around her. That kind of feeling made her feel flustered. The next morning, Hua Min went to the hospital at 6 in the morning to prepare for her father-in-law's surgery. However, she did not expect to see someone in the ward. Mian, come here and see who this is. Lady Qin held Hua Min's hand intimately and pointed at a short-haired girl in her 20s. This is... Hua Min was stunned. Chapter 1566. Is this... Ning Ning? Hua Min looked at the short-haired girl and asked uncertainly. See, I told you, Mian has a good memory. You can definitely guess. Lady Qin's face was full of pride. Her daughter-in-law, who used to be a thorn in her side, had now become her greatest pride. She was even more famous than her son, Qin Chu. Although Hua Min had always kept a low profile and never showed off, Hua Min's recent actions had really touched the two elders of the Qin family. This girl, at a critical moment, single-handedly held up the big picture and moved everyone. Everyone said that meeting a peerless man like Qin Chu was Hua Min's life's fortune, but who knew? To be able to meet a woman like Hua Min was the dream of all men. No woman could win a man's heart with just her beauty. And a girl like Hua Min never relied on her beauty. The short-haired girl stared at Hua Min and smiled slightly. Hello, sis-in-law. Hua Min walked over and looked at her up and down intimately. I've always heard people talk about you, but this is the first time I've met you. You're much prettier in person than in your photos. You're a very cute girl. Hua Min never said anything against her will or flattered anyone just to please them. She truly thought the girl was pretty and cute. Her smile was sweet. Who was this short-haired girl? It turned out that she wasn't just anyone. She was the daughter of Qin Chu's uncle, Wu Hong, who had immigrated to the United States a few years ago and settled down in Hawaii. Wu Hong was also a well-known overseas Chinese and had his own business in the United States. He and Qin Chu's father were biological brothers and had a very good relationship. Qin Chu's uncle had stayed in the United States for many years after studying abroad. Now, he was also a well-known figure in the upper class. They had always been close friends. His uncle had tried to persuade his brother's family to emigrate more than once, but Qin Chu's father had always had a deep attachment to his hometown and was reluctant to leave, so the matter was left unsettled. When the company was in trouble, Uncle Qin Chu happened to be in South America to discuss a project. Only after returning to America did he find out that something had happened here. He immediately brought his precious daughter back to China. Qin Ning was considered to be Qin Chu's close relative. When Qin Chu was studying in the United States, she visited him with her father many times. The Qin family had a photo of the child. Although it was taken 5 or 6 years ago, it hadn't changed much. That was why Hua Min recognized Qin Ning right away. Ning Ning, you're here. Where's Uncle? My father is here too. He's in the director's office, talking about my uncle's surgery. Huamin nodded. Sister-in-law, I've known about you for a long time. Qi Ning leaned forward and smiled mysteriously. Without waiting for Huamin to speak, Qi Ning continued, I saw it on my brother's phone. I secretly looked at it. He doesn't allow anyone to touch his phone, so I knew there must be a secret. When I opened it, I was stunned. It was filled with photos of you. At that time, you were still so young and so cute. After hearing Qi Ning's words, Huamin smiled shyly. You peeked at his phone. He didn't get mad. Because of that, he ignored me for an entire month. Luckily, I lied to him in the end. My brother is cold on the outside but warm on the inside. He's very nice to me. When my mother passed away, he skipped school for a week and took me to Disneyland to comfort me. Qi Ning's mother passed away in a car accident 5 years ago. After that, Qin Chu's uncle didn't look for her again and took care of her. Perhaps because of this, Qin Chu doted on his little sister. Then, Qi Ning grabbed Huamin's hand and quietly asked, Sister-in-law, did my brother really kill someone? Chapter 1567. He didn't, Huamin answered straightforwardly. Then why is everyone saying that my brother killed her? Actually, I don't believe that he could kill Sister Song either. Qi Ning's expression was a little conflicted. Ning Ning, you know Song Yisher? Huamin asked quietly. I know her. Her father and my father have a good relationship. She liked my brother since she was young and always thought that she would marry my brother. Unfortunately, my brother didn't like her. Later, when my brother was studying in the United States, she went to visit him many times. I don't know why, but she didn't dare to go to the school to look for him. Then, she wanted to bribe me and bought me a lot of gifts. At that time, I felt that Sister Song was too scheming. I didn't like her very much. From Qi Ning's words, he learned that Song Yisher was very obsessed with Qin Chu back then. Among so many women who pestered Qin Chu, Song Yisher could be said to be his biggest love rival and the most difficult one to deal with. Huamin had also crossed swords with her many times. In the end, he didn't hesitate to fall out with her. He even went as far as racing and gambling with his life. Now that Song Yisher was dead, all the grudges were in the past. When he heard Qi Ning talk about the past, he didn't feel so deeply. After a moment of silence, Huamin said, Song Yisher's death was a little tragic, but it had nothing to do with your brother. She deserved it. It didn't matter that Song Yisher was dead, but it was a pity that she tricked Qin Chu before she died. What nonsense diary did she leave? If the police didn't let go, they would think that she really had an affair with Qin Chu. They would think that Qin Chu was a murderer of love. This was also what made Huamin the most depressed. Huamin felt that the person Song Yisher loved the most was not Qin Chu, but himself. It was because she was afraid of death that she was threatened and used by Hua Xiqian, leaving behind such a big disaster for Qin Chu. This was not something that a person who loved Qin Chu deeply would do. Then who is the real murderer? Why didn't you capture him? Qi Ning asked innocently. Qi Ning was only 19 years old, about the same age as Xi Xin, so she was still very naive. Sometimes, she didn't think too much. Ning Ning, it's not as simple as you think. Your brother was set up by someone. Those bad guys tried their best to break us up, but you have to believe in your brother. He's innocent. Qi Ning nodded. Sister-in-law, I believe in my brother. Just then, Mrs. Qin came in from outside. Mian, come and meet your uncle. Huamin stepped forward and greeted him. Uncle, you're back. Mr. Qin looked a lot like Qin Chu's father, but he was much younger than his father-in-law. This must be Mian, right? What a good girl. Mian, I've heard about you from my sister-in-law. Thank you so much for what happened to the family recently. My nephew really didn't choose the wrong person. We're all very grateful for everything you've done for the Qin family. Mr. Qin looked at Huamin with praise and sincerity in his eyes. Uncle, you're too kind. I'm part of this family, so it's my duty to do anything. It's not hard at all. Huamin smiled. Mian, how's the company doing? Mr. Qin asked. To be honest, the company hasn't been doing well recently. The stock market was on the verge of collapse. What about now? How much money do you need? Mr. Qin asked seriously. It's done this morning. Huamin smiled faintly. Mr. Qin froze slightly when he heard this. Done. Isn't there a gap of tens of billions? Yes, but I borrowed it and filled it up. You borrowed it. Mian, are you saying that someone borrowed tens of billions at once? Mr. Qin looked at his 24-year-old niece-in-law in disbelief. Chapter 1568. Yes, uncle. Huamin nodded. But where did you get so much money? Hong was surprised. Not to mention a little girl like Huamin, even he and his brother wouldn't be able to get so much money in such a short time. It was my friends who joined forces to help me. Friends like you are so rare. Hong was shocked. Hong was slightly shocked. Yes, I'm very grateful to them. I brought 8 billion yuan in cash. You can use it first. If it's not enough, I'll go back to the US headquarters and think of something else. Hong took out an international check and handed it to Huamin. Uncle, is this enough? Take it, we're family. My brother called me a long time ago. If I didn't go to South America, he wouldn't have come so late. I'm ashamed to say that. Uncle, let's not talk about this. My dad's surgery is about to start. I need to get ready. I heard about you from old Wu. To be honest, I was shocked. Don't feel pressured. Relax, I'll leave Big Brother to you. Don't worry, Uncle, I'll do my best. Good luck, sis-in-law. Qi Ning held Huamin's hand and said affectionately. Lady Qin walked over worriedly. She looked at Huamin and asked hesitantly, Mian, are the chances of success? Mom, to be honest, I don't know, but I'll do my best. Okay, I believe in you. Then, we'll wait for you outside the ore. Huamin nodded. Finally, under the watchful eyes of the Qin family, Huamin changed his clothes and disinfected them. Then, he followed the surgical team into the ore. Huamin was still a little nervous, because he couldn't allow himself to make any mistakes. The surgery went on for 7 hours. When Huamin came out, exhausted, he almost fainted. Fortunately, the nurse beside him was quick to react. Dr. Hua, are you okay? Huamin shook his head. I haven't been resting well recently. Maybe I'm too tired. I'm fine. Dr. Hua, you don't look too good. You should go back and rest. We've already done everything we could. The rest is up to his willpower. Dr. Liu, what are the chances of my dad waking up now? Huamin asked nervously. To be honest, I'm not too sure. If I have to say, then it's about 35%. Huamin's expression changed slightly. So little. It's already quite a lot. I knew he had brain cancer, but we don't know how he'll recover after the surgery. We don't even know if the cancer cells will spread in his brain, so I really can't give you a specific time. I can only say that it depends on his own luck. Huamin walked out of the operating theater with a heavy heart. Mian, how's your dad? Lady Qin was the first to rush up and ask. The operation was a success. That's great. Lady Qin grabbed Huamin's hand excitedly. Mom, but Dad still needs 24 hours of observation. He's still in critical condition. Upon hearing Huamin's words, Lady Qin stopped smiling. But I'm sure Dad will be fine. Mom, you don't look well. You should go and rest, Huamin comforted her. You don't look well either. You should go and rest too. Huamin shook his head. I have to go to the company to take care of some things. You guys go and keep Dad company in the ward. After leaving the hospital, Huamin drove to GK. However, as soon as he got off the highway, he was blocked by a traffic jam. Hua Xiqian walked up to Huamin's car and knocked on the window. Huamin rolled down the window. Mian, he'll be convicted in the second trial. Everything will be settled by then. Are you really not going to beg me to let Qin Chu go? No matter what I say, you won't let him go, right? Huamin looked coldly at Hua Xiqian, who was unusually rational. Why don't you try to please me? Why don't you give it a try? Hua Xiqian looked at Huamian's face with an almost infatuated smile. Chapter 1569. Do you have any shame? Please you. Why don't you just kill me? Huamin sneered at Hua Xiqian. Then I can understand why you would rather die than please me. Yes. Mian, why? What do you mean why? Huamin stared at Hua Xiqian with hostility. Why can Qin Chu and even see you get close to you? Why can't I? I thought I didn't mistreat you all these years. Hua Xiqian was hurt. Ever since he fell in love with Huamin, he had been treating her well. Huamin was the chairman of the Hua Foundation. On her birthday, he gave her a jade bracelet worth tens of millions. When she had stomach problems, he prepared medicine for her. When she didn't know how to take care of her skin, he sent her facial masks regularly. When she was sad, he didn't know what to do. When Hui Yanyan and Huamin were rude to Huamin, he took revenge for them. When the old man pretended to be nice to Huamin, he destroyed the old man. All of this had something to do with Huamin. But why couldn't she see the good in him? Do you want to know why? Huamin smiled slightly. Hua Xiqian stared at her delicate face and didn't say anything. Because, you don't have a bottom line. You only care about yourself and never think about others. You're selfish and even stepped on so many people's lives to satisfy your selfish desires. Compared to Qin Chu, you lack the most important thing. What? Hua Xiqian was slightly surprised. She looked at Huamin in confusion. That is a kind heart, Huamin said word by word. This world doesn't need kindness. It's too cheap. Hua Xiqian didn't seem to agree with Huamin's point of view. He even made fun of her naivety. Hua Xiqian, good and evil will come to an end. One day, you will pay for what you've done. Really? Then I'll wait for that day. Hua Xiqian laughed arrogantly. Huamin stepped on the gas and drove away, not wanting to argue with him. Huamin thought that not only was Hua Xiqian a psycho, but he was also crazy. Huamian makes sense. The four great families invested their money, along with Qin Chu's uncle. Hua Xiqian, Huamin, Hua didn't have the right to say anything. That was not a big deal. Huamin worked overtime until 7 p.m. and was about to drive back to Sky Blessing Court. Just then, an uninvited guest suddenly showed up. Huamin, you are. Huamin was confused as he looked at the girl sitting across from him. We've met before. You probably forgot about me. My name is Wang Sha. You're Hua Xiqian's date. Huamin suddenly remembered. Yes. Wang Shasha nodded. She was wearing a long black cashmere coat. Her long, wavy hair made her look mature. Her face looked haggard, and she wore light nude makeup. However, she wasn't as stunning or sexy as Immerse were. All of the women around Huasichen were extremely beautiful. That was why this average-looking, and uneducated girl was able to gain Huasichen's favor for a while, causing a lot of controversy. Huamin had never seen her in detail, so he didn't know her well. Did you need something from me? Huamin looked at her and asked. It was quite strange that she would come to the company alone to see him at night. I want to talk to you, she said. About what? About Huasichen. Sorry, I'm not interested in that man, Huamin immediately refused. You have to listen, because it might have something to do with you. Wang Shasha looked at Huamin with a serious expression on her face. Huamin hesitated for a while and then looked at his watch. I'll give you 20 minutes, you can start. Huasichen, he's always loved you, did you know that? Wang Shasha quietly looked at Huamin and asked. Chapter 1570. I do, Huamin said calmly. When he chose me, I was so happy. I didn't know how lucky I was. I couldn't believe that I could be with someone of such status. He provided me with food, drinks and entertainment, and was so generous. I don't know how many people envied me. Later, I found out that I was just a substitute. He often looked at my face and was lost in thought. Then, he would call out your name. Miss Wang, please get to the point. My time is precious. I was pregnant with his child, but he forced me to abort it. Huamin wasn't surprised. Immerse had the same ending. Even someone like Immerse couldn't give birth to Huasichen's child, so Wang Shasha was even worse. The truth is, I can understand why he didn't want to keep the child. After all, I was just a drug to him. I didn't take it seriously. But he refused to admit that he touched me and said that the child wasn't his. It pissed me off, he refused to admit it. Huamin didn't think that Huasichen was such a coward. Did he suspect that you were having an affair with someone else? Huamin asked. Wang Shasha shook her head. No, he forgot to touch me. Speaking of which, there's something very strange. He raised me for a long time, but he never touched me. It's that kind of, he won't have sex with me. But one day, more than a month ago, he suddenly came to me and took off my clothes without saying anything. He was my sugar daddy, so I didn't dare to resist. But it was very strange. His behavior that day was very scary and abnormal. He came in and did it without saying anything, and then left, without saying a word to me. Wang Shasha carefully recalled that day. What happened after that? Huamin was interested. After that, he often came to my place, but he didn't touch me anymore. He also didn't mention what happened that night. Maybe he was drunk and forgot. Huamin asked. Wang Shasha shook her head. I don't think so. There was no smell of alcohol on him that night. His eyes were cold and he looked sober. But his behavior that night was different from usual. It was as if he had become a different person. After Wang Shasha finished speaking, Huamin suddenly thought of the time when he was surrounded by Huasichen in the company. Later, he refused to admit it. The way he looked at Huasichen didn't seem like he was lying. Now that Wang Shasha said this, she really became vigilant. There were indeed many suspicious points. Huamin, do you think Huasichen is mentally ill? Wang Shasha suddenly asked. Why do you ask? I always feel that he has a lot of secrets. Is it strange? Don't you suspect that he has a body double? Min looked at Wang Shasha and asked quietly. I don't think it's a double, and it can't be twins. Why? Because the night he had sex with me, I took a look and saw a red mole under his left chest. I saw it when he was changing his clothes. It's definitely him. I just suspect that he's mentally ill, that's why his memory is bad and his behavior is weird. I don't think so. He has regular checkups and Southside has his medical records. He's very healthy. Not only is he not mentally ill, but he's also very smart and cunning. Min didn't agree with Wang Shasha's words. She didn't think Hua Xiqian was mentally ill. Anyways, I just feel like something's wrong. I saw that he's been working hard on you recently. Anyways, you should be careful of him. Really, I'm just reminding you out of kindness. Thank you for your kindness. Min was still very calm. Okay then, I'll leave you to it. I don't plan to stay here anymore. I'll go back to my hometown in a few days and find an honest person to marry. I have some savings now, so I want to go home and start a small business. Bye. When Wang Shasha walked to the door, Min suddenly thought of something. She called out, Miss Wang, please wait. What is it? Wang Shasha turned around. Was Hua Xiqian really with Song Yisha the night she died? Min wanted to ask Wang Shasha if she knew anything about Song Yisha's case. Chapter 1571. I'm sorry, I really don't know anything about this. Oh. Min was slightly disappointed. In fact, she really wanted to find some valuable clues so that she could clear Qin Chu's name in the second trial and turn the tables. But, reality was cruel. Hua Xiqian is very suspicious. He never lets me touch his phone or ask about his whereabouts. So, I really don't know where he was or what he was doing on the day of the incident. It's okay, I'm just asking. I think you can ask Mo Shui. She won't tell me the truth. She's helping Hua Xiqian even if she dies. Then there's no other way. Yang Shasha nodded. After Wang Shasha left, Min drove back to Sky Blessing Court. He video called his mother who was in New Zealand. Then, he drove to a nearby supermarket and bought a lot of groceries. Then, he created a WeChat group to chat. In the WeChat group, Min sent a message, Is everyone busy? Zhu Lingling, why did you create another group? Min, there's a lot of people in this group. Jiang Xiaowei, what's going on? President Hua. Min, come to my place for dinner. I'll cook for you guys today. Jiang Xiaowei, what's the occasion today? Min, a good day for dinner. Gao Ran, what's the occasion? Min, Manchu Han Imperial Feast. Gao Ran, I'll be there soon. Zhu Lingling, damn, it's hard to change your foodie nature. Min, Xiaowei, call Wei Liao. Jiang Xiaowei, okay. Su Yu, Wei Liao is with me. Min, great, you guys can come together. If young Master Tang is free, call him too. Come for dinner in an hour. Su Yu, okay, do you need anything? Min, just bring him. Su Yu, okay, see you later. Ni Yang, sis, what's going on? Chen Jia, chief, what's wrong? Min, it's nothing. I just wanted to invite all of you over for a meal. You've all been working hard and worrying about me. I'll treat all of you to a meal and cook for you. Come early. Ni Yang, okay, I'll go in a bit. Min's call was met with 100 responses, and everyone readily agreed. An hour later many luxury cars gathered in front of blessed heavenly garden. Lamborghini, Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Siyu drove Wei Liao. Tang Chuan drove his own Porsche Cayenne. Jiang Xiaowei was sent here by the Wei family's chauffeur in a Mercedes-Benz RV. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were still driving Jaguars. Ni Yang drove Chen Jia in a black Land Rover. Including Huamin, there were 9 people in total. Huamin used an hour to cook 4 dishes, stewed chicken, and soup. He also bought 4 types of cooked food, making a total of 10 dishes. Everyone gathered around the table and chatted with each other. The atmosphere was great. Huamin walked over in a floral apron. Suyu chuckled. What are you laughing at? Huamin flicked Suyu's head. This style suits you, silly girl. Suyu smiled. Nothing good comes out of a dog's mouth. Tang Chuan smiled. Dr. Hua, Lord Su is on his period. Don't lower yourself to his level. Suyu turned around and punched Tang Chuan. Fuck you, Mian, don't be busy. Sit. Jiang Xiaowei pulled Huamin to a seat. Wei Liao looked at the table full of delicacies in disbelief. Did you make all of this? Yeah, a few of them are finished products. I didn't have enough time. Did you stew this ginseng chicken? Sis, it smells so good. Ni Yang chuckled. Eat more if you think it's good. Let's eat and drink to our heart's content. Girl, there's something wrong with you today. Zhu Lingling suddenly stared at Huamin's face and said, word for word. No. Huamin smiled. Mian, did you call everyone here because you want to discuss a way to save Qin Chu? Jiang Xiaowei asked. Actually, I've already thought of a way. Huamin spoke very slowly with his head lowered. What way? Gao Ran asked impatiently. Chapter 1572. Huamin looked around and chuckled. The solution is, I'll take Qin Chu and run away with him. Fuck, what kind of solution is that? Didn't we already talk about it? Zhu Lingling complained. So you're saying that you're going to break out of jail and run away with Mr. Qin, or are you going to be released on medical parole? Jiang Xiaowei asked rationally. It's all the same, we're both going to run away anyway. Huamin chuckled. That's not the same. If you break out of jail, you'll both be charged with a felony and will always be wanted criminals. No matter where you go, you'll have to worry about being caught. If you're released on medical parole, you'll be much safer. Although Mr. Qin will suffer a little in the beginning, he'll be free and legally free. Isn't that what a lot of corrupt officials are like? On the surface, they'll be arrested, but in the end, they'll still be released on medical parole. They'll say that they're going abroad for treatment, but who knows if they're actually cured. To put it bluntly, even if they go to Korea for plastic surgery, they'll come back a year later with a completely different face. Who would want to pursue the matter? This was what Jiang Xiaowei said. She had always been a meticulous person, no wonder she had a PhD in psychology. Wei Liao also supported his wife's point of view and said, she's slightly right. Huamin, you have to think about it carefully. Don't be impulsive. But, if it were any other case, it would be fine, but Qin Chu's case is a murder. Plus, it's Mayor Song's daughter. I think he'll keep an eye on this case and won't let him go so easily. Gao Ran said with a heavy heart. He paid attention to this case every day at the police station, so he was the one who knew the progress of this case the best. Just then, Siyu slowly said, Don't worry, leave this to me. I have a plan. Tang Chuan smiled and patted Su Yu's shoulder. If I, Lord Su, say so, then don't worry, it'll be done. Come on, let's drink. Everyone knew the power of the Su family. If Su Yu dared to say that, then it was most likely true. Moreover, if even the Su family couldn't do anything to him, then others would be even more helpless. Therefore, Suyu's words carried a lot of weight at this time. Yes, young Master Tang is right. Let's drink. Anyway, you don't have to worry about this. Hua Min smiled. Mian. I heard that Uncle Chin Chu is back. Zhu Lingling asked as they chatted. Yeah, and Qin Ning is back too. She can help me take care of my father-in-law at the hospital. I don't have to worry about him anymore. Qin Ning. She is Qin Chu's cousin. Is she pretty? Can you introduce them to me? Tang Chuan interrupted. She's only 19. Why don't you let my little sister go? Hua Min laughed. Seeing Hua Min's relaxed expression, everyone was relieved. They ate and drank without holding back. Chen Jia was shy and didn't talk much. Ni Yang kept putting food on her plate and taking care of her. During the meal, Hua Min got up to go to the kitchen to get more soup. Tang Chuan came to get more rice as well. As soon as she walked in, he followed. Ha! Do you want more rice? I'll help you. No, I'll do it myself. I won't be polite with you. Tang Chuan laughed. Hua Min smiled but didn't say anything. Hua Min, yeah. Actually, to be honest, I used to hate you. Oh. Why did you hate me? Hua Min pursed his lips into a smile. It was as if he already knew what Tang Chuan was thinking. Chapter 1573. Because I always thought that you were too pretentious. You were always so calm and cold-blooded, playing hard to get with Lord Su. I always thought that you were playing with Lord Su on purpose, treating him like an idiot. You know, there's a type of woman in this world. If you like her, she'll keep you in suspense even if she doesn't like you back. She'll use your feelings for her to do a lot of things for her. At first, I thought that you were that type of bitch. What happened after that? Hua Min asked. They say that distance tests a horse's strength, and time reveals a person's heart. This saying was passed down by our ancestors, and it's true. After such a long time, I've finally seen through you. I also know why Lord Su likes you. The way you handle people is amazing. You're so righteous. Especially that time when Lord Su was framed for murder. I thought that you wouldn't stand up for him, but I didn't expect that you actually took the initiative to explain yourself. You didn't care about your own reputation and took on so much suspicion and abuse. At that time, I thought that even though you're a woman, you're very manly. Hua Min laughed. All women want to be a woman in a man's eyes, but I became a man in a woman's eyes. Tang Chuan nodded. You're so strong. So strong that it's scary. You're so good to the people around you, whether it's your family, friends, or lovers. You'll never back down, and you'll always be the first to rush out and take on the responsibility. As a man, whoever has you is really lucky. Bluff. Keep bluffing. Young Master Tang, are you trying to flatter me today? Hua Min looked at Tang Chuan with a bowl of soup in his hand and laughed. That's not it. Don't you know my temper? If I like someone, then that's great. If I don't like someone, even if you give me 8 million yuan, I won't praise them. It's just that you've had a hard time getting to where you are. It's Qin Chu's honor to have a wife like you. I'm jealous of Lord Su. Really? It's not like that. I just did what I had to do. It's that simple. Alright, don't be so modest with me. Oh right. You can use the money without worry. Although I'm not the head of the family yet, that little bit of money is nothing to my family. When you're rich, you can talk about returning the money. Don't feel pressured. Young Master Tang, thank you. Hua Min was truly grateful. If Su Yu had treated him well, it would have made sense. After all, everyone knew that Suyu had feelings for her. However, it was true that Tang Chuan and Huamin were only acquaintances. They had never exchanged money. Therefore, to let young Master Tang take out so much money without even an IOU, it was indeed a righteous thing to do. You don't have to thank me. You should accept Lord Su's kindness. I really like Lord Su. He likes you so much, and we're all touched. If he wants to do anything for you, we'll support him, thank you. Anyways, if you ever need my help, I'll do anything for you. Damn. You don't have to be so scary. When you have time, just introduce me to some hot chicks. Huamin was speechless. What the hell are you talking about? What are you two talking about behind our backs? Suyu walked in without them noticing. Nothing, I was just talking to Huamin. Tang Chuan smiled wickedly. Is this a place for you to stay? After you're done eating, hurry up and go home, Suyu jokingly scolded him. It's not your house. Tang Chuan rolled his eyes at him. Fuck. What did you just say? Nothing, you two talk. Tang Chuan ran out with a cheeky smile. Suyu turned around and looked at Huamin, feeling a little embarrassed. Suyu faintly said. It's okay, go ahead. Huamin smiled. Chapter 1574. Tang Chuan, that guy, doesn't think before he speaks. Don't take his words to heart. What if I take his words to heart? Suyu was at a loss for words. Huamin burst out laughing. Ever since Qin Chu's accident, Huamin hadn't laughed so happily in a long time. That bright smile warmed Suyu's heart. I'm just teasing you. I've known him for so long, of course I know what kind of person he is. I won't take it to heart. Plus, young Master Tang didn't say anything, that's good. Are you in the kitchen to get rice too? I'll get it for you. As he spoke, Huamin came over to take Suyu's bowl. It's okay, I'll do it myself. As he spoke, Suyu took a small spoonful of rice and left. Everyone seemed to have a good time chatting. Huamin was a good cook. After dinner, he prepared fruits for everyone. It wasn't until 10:30 p.m., when it was getting late, that everyone left one after another. Before leaving, Huamin called Jiang Xiaowei to the side and talked to her for a while. When they came out, Wei Liao vaguely felt that Jiang Xiaowei's mood wasn't quite right. Perhaps others didn't care too much, but Wei Liao and Jiang Xiaowei were husband and wife. After living together for a long time, they would have a subtle telepathy. So, on the way back, Wei Liao sat across from Jiang Xiaowei and asked. Honey, what is it? What did Huamin talk to you about? Jiang Xiaowei hesitated for a moment, then said faintly, nothing. Then, she lowered her head and continued to play games on her phone. Then why do I feel like your expression isn't quite right? What's wrong? Jiang Xiaowei raised her head and looked at Wei Liao. I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like you have something on your mind. Now that you've been influenced by me, you want to learn psychology from me, and you want to learn how to read people's minds. No. It's just a feeling. Maybe I'm wrong. It's nothing. I'm just asking. Yes. Is Huamin really going to rely on Lord Su to get him out on medical parole? What else? Jiang Xiaowei asked. It's fine. Lord Su is so powerful. Protecting one person won't be a problem. This will depend on how strong Lord Su is. After saying that, Wei Liao didn't ask any more questions. Jiang Xiaowei didn't chat with him as usual. She just lowered her head and played games on her phone. Zhu Lingling also felt flustered when Gao Ran went back. Gao Ran, why do I feel like Mian is acting a little weird today? Zhu Lingling asked. Really? Why do I feel like she's the same as usual? She's chatting and laughing. Gao Ran glanced at Zhu Lingling. Something's wrong. I think with my understanding of Mian, there's definitely something wrong with her reaction. Qin Chu's second trial is about to begin, she shouldn't be so relaxed. No, I have to ask her. After saying that, Zhu Lingling lowered her head and sent a WeChat message to Huamin. Lingling, you're overreacting. I think it's because Qin Chu will be fine and Huamin has already thought of a plan, so she's relaxed. It's not like that. I've been her best friend for years. I can feel it. No, something's really not right. Zhu Lingling still felt flustered, but she couldn't describe what she was feeling. In short, today's gathering wasn't really a happy one. A week later, the second trial began as scheduled. Everyone was present, including Hua Xiqian and Mayor Song. When Qin Chu was brought up, Huamin smiled at him beautifully. Today, Huamin wore a very simple white dress with princess sleeves. It was simple and elegant. Qin Chu's gaze was fixed on Huamin. He missed her very much. He didn't know what fate awaited them after the second trial. Chapter 1575. The second trial's procedure was similar to the first trial. The required evidence was resubmitted. The police lawyer asked Qin Chu some key questions. During the entire process, Huamin quietly looked at Qin Chu's face, his eyes full of love. It was as if Qin Chu was the only man in the world. He cherished and warmed her heart. Mian, don't worry, Qin Chu will be fine. Zhu Lingling felt that Huamin's behavior was abnormal. Therefore, she tightly raised her hand and placed it on Huamin's hand, holding it back. After she went back that day, she sent Huamin a lot of WeChat messages. Huamin didn't answer her directly. He only played Tai Chi with her. After a while, he said that he was tired and wanted to go to bed. Vaguely, Zhu Lingling still felt that something was wrong. Actually, she was a little worried that Huamin had been under so much pressure recently. If he thought too much and then went to bed, would he have severe depression and hide it? If that was the case, it would be serious, because people with severe depression would do a lot of dangerous things. Faced with Zhu Lingling's safety, Huamin only glanced at her sideways and smiled. However, the more relaxed Huamin was, the more nervous Zhu Lingling became. After being together for so many years, they still had some telepathy between best friends. Just as the lawyers from both sides finished their statements and the judge was about to announce the verdict, Huamin suddenly stood up and shouted in front of everyone, "Your Honor, I have something to say." At this moment, everyone looked at Huamin, including Qin Chu. He didn't know what Huamin wanted to say at this moment. "Family member of the suspect, please speak." The judge knew their relationship, so he nodded in agreement. "Your Honor, I plan to turn myself in." Huamin's voice was very calm. He spoke very slowly, but his voice was very loud and instantly spread to every corner of the courtroom. "Turn yourself in." The judge was a little shocked. Qin Chu also had a panicked expression in his eyes. Siyu was shocked. Gao Ran and Zhu Lingling were shocked. Hua Xiqian's expression was also extremely complicated. Everyone present, except for Jiang Xiaowei, was shocked. Wei Liao glanced at Huamin and then at Jiang Xiaowei. He saw that she had one hand on her abdomen with one hand. "Slightly, you knew." Wei frowned and asked her. After dinner that day, Wei Liao felt that something was wrong. He asked Jiang Xiaowei several times, but she didn't answer. Now it seemed that Jiang Xiaowei had known about it and didn't stop her. However, Jiang Xiaowei was very sad. She was very sad about Huamin's actions. At the same time, she also understood how Huamin felt about Qin Chu. Huamin, what are you talking about? Su Yu was the first to react and immediately stood up. The Qin family members sitting behind Huamin were also confused. They didn't know what was going on. Superintendent He Hongfei of the Major Crimes Division looked at Huamin with a serious expression. Mrs. Qin, this is murder, it's not a joke. You can't just admit to it. It's a matter of life and death. I'm kindly reminding you to think carefully before you speak. I've thought it through. I killed her, and my husband is innocent. I've been feeling uneasy in my dorm lately, and I don't think it's fair for my husband to take the blame. So, I plan to turn myself in. Huamin, are you crazy? Zhu Lingling's expression changed drastically as she pointed at Huamin. I'm not crazy. I killed her. Huamin smiled. Due to the complexity of the case, please bring Mrs. Qin here first. We'll deal with it appropriately. Seeing that someone admitted to murder, the judge immediately reopened the case. Mayor Song looked at Huamin with a gloomy expression. Chapter 1576. He actually didn't care who killed his daughter, Song Yishir. He only cared about the fact that whoever killed Shishir had to pay with their life. Therefore, no matter if it was Huamin or Qin Chu, the murderer had to die. Huamin smiled and admitted that she was the murderer in court, and the case became even more confusing. When she was taken away by the police, Su blocked her way. Huamin, what do you want? Su Yu looked at Huamin with bloodshot eyes, and there seemed to be slightly tears in his eyes. He was all too familiar with the laws of this country, and he knew what the punishment for intentional murder was. Su Yu. I'm sorry. Huamin didn't answer Su Yu's question directly. Instead, she apologized to Su Yu with a poignant smile. When Huamin was taken away, she happened to be right next to Su Yu. They weren't very far apart. The two looked at each other affectionately, and before Qin Chu could say anything, Huamin said, "Honey. I'm sorry for making you suffer. Thank you for taking so long to convict me." Huamin's voice was very loud, and everyone could hear her. Qin Chu's expression changed slightly, and he replied bitterly, "Mian, what do you want? I can't let you take the blame for me. This is a big deal. I killed her, so I have to take responsibility for it." Just then, Officer He walked over and looked into Huamin's eyes again. "Mrs. Qin, think about it. Murder is not a small matter. This case is very serious. If you're convicted, you'll be executed by shooting. Do you know the consequences of saying that you killed her?" "I know," Huamin replied calmly. "But we can't just rely on your words. If everyone comes to confess, then we'll be in a mess. We, the police, are particular about evidence. All the evidence now proves that the murderer is Qin Chu. I have evidence to prove that I killed him." Huamin's words made everyone in the courtroom nervous. "Mian, what evidence do you have?" Zhu Lingling grabbed Gao Ran's hand tightly. "I really don't know, Lingling. I've already been disqualified from this case. A lot of the evidence is confidential. I don't have the right to see it. I really don't know." "Lord Su. What's going on? I'm an idiot now. What the hell is going on?" Tang Chuan was still in a state of confusion. "Daddy, what is my sister-in-law trying to do?" Qin Ning asked softly. Qin Chu's uncle just shook his head. He came back very late and didn't know his niece-in-law at all. Qin Yuman was still recovering from his surgery. Lady Qin asked the nurse to watch over him while she listened to the trial. When she heard that Huamin was confessing, she felt her blood pressure shoot up again, she felt dizzy, Auntie. Are you okay? Qin Ning helped Lady Qin up. What evil did our Qin family do? Why is Mian involved now? Things are really complicated now. Qin Chu's uncle sighed and said in a low voice. Mayor Song glanced at Hua Xiqin. You knew that Hua Min was the murderer, didn't you? You've been covering for her because she's your sister? Ha! Father-in-law, are you kidding me? How would I know? Plus, Mian is a weak woman. She wouldn't even kill an ant. How could she kill someone? I think she's just spouting nonsense to help Qin Chu get off the hook. Hua Xiqian denied that Hua Min was the murderer. He responded to Mayor Song with a fake smile. Is that really the case? Mayor Song didn't think it was that simple. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.